That's okay.
We're live. One from a garage, one from another garage. We're all live from the garages tonight. Okay.
It's good to be here, Tommy, and I know it's been frustrating. It's frustrating. It's raining. It's waiting. It's waiting on. We've been watching flat Earth stuff, and we have so much proof. And it's 5 or 6 years, and their arguments haven't changed. For them it's easy. They can just laugh and say, "Oh, ha 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 ha! They're silly. They believe in flat Earth, and they think they won. They don't have to use math, anything."
Right, like I was saying earlier. Hey, Randy. Like I was saying earlier about the video he did with the two millennials. Their argument was, you just have to look at it. It's round. It's a ball. Just look at it. What's wrong with you? The math, the science tells you. And when he started knocking down every one of the science says, they just eventually, like I'd said in the earlier video, they were just most of the time going, what about, but it's complex. I know the math, it's hard. And it's like, he's like, no, it doesn't make any sense. That's what their brains was doing, trying to make sense of it. And it's like, it just makes no sense what they told us.
Right. And David Weiss, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, a lot of these people, they make good videos. And I don't know how come, how they don't get to the point of believing the Bible and how other people don't.
I know, yeah. I think it was Web Novi on my video. He made a comment saying, yeah, but he never brings up, premillennialism, post-millennial time frame. And these people aren't gonna. They say everything where the next sentence should be, and Christ in the golden age is past. He has returned, but they won't. Whether they believe it or not in their heart, they won't confess it with their mouths. So what do? The evidence is there. Hopefully people like you and I, when I watch it, the things that are true, I feel it. I know that's true. That is true. That is true. Things that, that's a little stretch there. But for the most part, these people have done solid work on flat Earth. They're answering all those questions that the freaking globetards bring up. Well, where's your map? Well, that video, that dude, man, did a great deal. That was amazing. The way he did all the circles and the time zones, and still half the freaking planet is, what is this stuff? What is all this over here? And the people also, the same thing, the kids, they're like, well, you can go to Antarctica. And he's like, you can go there for like $50,000, but you can't go anywhere they don't let you go. And they're like, the people can fly over it. He's like, no, they cannot. Well, you can sail. No, you cannot. You will meet military force in the ocean if you try to do that. And they're just sitting there going, huh? And it's like, yeah, kids. Everything y'all read, y'all believe, y'all believe, that Antarctica is just this little place up there, just cold and nothing to see.
Who knows what they believe? Who knows what they believe? I'm glad to see that my big brother Randy's here. Luther the Truther, Stu is back.
There's Luther.
4 minutes in, and we've got some good men with us here.
And Luther, you're right. I do feel bad for those people preaching, here comes the tribulation. Here comes, the rapture. It's coming, the signs, rumors of wars, blah, blah. That's all we've heard for 60 years or more, 100 years. It's on us. It's on us. Here it comes. Looky, looky. Oh, my God. And the more people, I guess for me, the thing was, and I think this is important for people to understand, not until that veil is lifted and you're seeking the truth through God, you're not going to see this stuff. You're going to do the same thing all these people do is go, that's dumb. You can't prove that. That's all their answer is. But NASA said, okay, well, here's where NASA's wrong. I don't buy that, you know. And it, like the girl said, he's showing them all the NASA green screen flops and flubs. And she's like, well, I do like using green screen, you know. And he's like, look, I'm on the space station. You know, he's got green screen with a space station behind him. You know, and that was their only comment. I like playing with green screen. NASA's doing it, and they're telling you we're up into outer space, and we're calling you, and we're showing you how we work. And these people buy it. It's just until that veil is lifted through the Holy Spirit, they're not going to see it, guys. We can make all the freaking videos you want. It's not happening.
Hey, let me share something, Tommy. I want to get your comment on it, okay?
All right.
Let me see if I have to.
You just share, and I'll go one screen.
I have to request it from you.
Right. I got it here.
But this is the one. This is the thing that people need to see, you know, because these things get their attention, don't they?
No, it really doesn't. You would think so, right? And he showed them some stuff like that and talked to them about these things. And they were like, yeah, but see, that's why, because gravity keeps everything right where it's supposed to be. And he's like, that makes no sense. You know, and he gave them the math. He gave them the, you know, what they say in their own words. And they're just like, well, you know, it's complicated. And you, as a 20-something-year-old, get it. We don't.
Remember when when we were young, to be young, and we realized every generation thought that they were the ones that was picked on and misunderstood. But Plato said we've got to be listened to. You know, they just. Tommy, we talked about it today. In World War II, the average height of the soldier was 5'6". Today, it's 5'10". That's not possible in one generation.
Hey, Web Newbies here. What's up, Web? Let me put the link. I think I put the link there in the chat already, or did I not? Let me put the link in if anybody wants to come on. I'll do that real quick.
I just think that.
See, now we've got all the alternative timelines and the mud flood. It takes the beautiful women now. Now they know how to market it, Tommy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to have a pretty face. Push it. Yes, definitely. For sure. If you don't have a pretty face pushing it out there, what? I mean, you're kind of, you're not real.
Right. And unfortunately, people I talk to, they just, you know, it's like they will travel 1,000 miles for a chance to be like, oh, somebody agrees with me and I could talk to them and we'll get married.
Right. Right. And you know, that is their mentality. Why would they lie? Because every teacher they ever had stand in front of them we're told they won't lie to you. This is your teacher. And we're programmed into believing that till the day we die, until the veil is lifted. You know, God's willing. You know, and these people believe it. The teacher wouldn't lie to me, like the conspiracy guru song says. He says, you know, hey, teacher, she was real nice. She wouldn't lie to me. It's not her fault. She's just repeating what she learned.
Exactly. The people that millstone, they're millstoning because they've been millstoned, but it's still on them.
Hey, Webb, what's up? Webb is in the house, folks.
We should see what he's been up to if he wants to come on.
Well, he's here. Can we hear you, Webb? Are you there? Oh,
see, now here's what I like with the Gen X people, Tommy, is it's back on them now. You know, that we messed them up. We gave them cell phones. We did everything wrong. And now they got children. What are they going to do with them? Well, they're cashing those stimulus checks. They're spending their children's money. It's time for Gen X and Gen Z to get off the boomers' backs and say, we did nothing better.
Right. We didn't do nothing better. Are you there, Webb? You got your icon. We can't hear you if you're talking. You hear anything, Alan?
No. I didn't see anything. Randy's
going. He dropped out. He'll be back again.
When you've been taught by a wolf or someone who's been taught by a wolf, the sheep get scattered.
Right.
Yeah, the wolf, and that's what the that's what the Freemasons are. That's what the Fabian socialists were. Those people with the fascist. We never got to the bottom 2 years ago before the pandemic came into effect. And I think we can say that now, Tommy. Yeah, we have some other background screen open or something.
Webb, there's Webb again.
What's up, guys? Can you hear me now?
There you are.
You know what? I had changed my audio settings on my computer because I was going to make some video. I'm starting to make videos, and I needed to be able to capture sound, so I had to change a setting to make it use my sound cards to capture audio rather than my microphone. So that's why it was turned off. All I had to do is flip it back on. So.
Yeah, no problem, bud. How you been?
It's been great, man. I feel like I haven't caught one of your live streams in forever, and it's good to have you on. Right
5 more days for me. 5 more days for me, and I'm walking on pins and cushions when I get back because I have to go until mid-July with 2 strikes.
Hey, wait, Alan.
Right. I figured that's why you weren't going.
A lot of Bible reading will be going on.
When you come back, are you going to spell out words that might get you banned? Are you going to put up words on the screen rather than say them? Because I remember you said, I'm not going to do that.
Right. Yeah. No, it's time to go to a new platform when that's the case. I agree, Tommy.
No, well, I think honestly, they should take that 1 strike away because they've changed it back now and they're admitting that there is some question about was it natural or is it from a laboratory? So now that they've changed their policy, I should get retroactively forgiven.
What I'm doing is that every video that I put my time and effort into, I'm going to be, I'm going to be putting on 3 platforms: YouTube, BitChute, and Library, which is also known as Odyssey. And those 3 right there, you cannot censor it at that point. Basically,
I want to get a Bible reading channel, have a couple of different channels once I know how to segregate my emails and stuff. And plus build up Tommy's channel too, even though they gave him a strike and he had 80 subscribers,
Right. No, I know. YouTube has been so far gone for so many years now. It's just been a censorship nightmare with YouTube. I mean, Google is the deep state that we're dealing with. I mean, they are the problem. So YouTube is the problem. They're not our solution. I mean, they've been great. It's been great that people have been able to use YouTube to get the word out, but they've been getting shut down over time more and more and more to a point to where now it's just ridiculous, So.
Well, when we have these great men in here, Tommy, maybe we could just share some more. And I just want to go over with what I've been studying the last 2 days and just get Tommy and Webb's comment on them if I can. And because can you guys see the screen?
Not right now.
Yeah, I got to share it.
You see this, everything's going to be tying back into Helsinger, the Helsings, the Von Helsings, the vampires, they're afraid of the light. It's all going back to Shakespeare and how he tried to, that's what I'm coming from. And Hamlet, the story of a king that is betrayed. It's all made up, and Shakespeare is Mark Twain. He's
any of that iconic
stuff. He's made up. He's Dickens. Yeah. He's Charles Dickens. He tells us everything about how they lived in that era.
Right.
Dickens in England and Mark Twain
On that note,
in the United States.
Remember the other day I told you a guy video I was watching pointed out that all of that literature had a couple of things in common. One was the orphans, Tom Sawyer, all those girls had an orphan, Tiny Tim, everybody.
Oliver Twist.
Yeah, everything was an orphan situation.
But
and if it wasn't that, then it was. But if it wasn't that, then it was a story about chastity, about the woman, and she has to preserve herself for the night or whoever.
Yeah, and why is it that these stories have been elevated to the status that they have today? You know, it's been a very controlled thing where they push certain authors as the greatest of all time.
Right? Who said it? They did.
Exactly.
They did.
Oscar Wilde, really, he's that good? No, he was a persecuted person with questionable sexual morals, so they promote him.
Yeah.
And they go in, oh, he was persecuted just like he was a woman, you know.
Yeah, they throughout the history they've given us, I've seen enough videos now that they just, all these characters, they've overlapped them and they've messed up. They've messed up, and now these people with these skills, for finding stuff, they're putting it together going, this is nuts. This is nuts. This history, 300 years missing.
Yeah, these people are just storytellers, is what they are.
Right.
Yeah, that one video shows these pictures like right here. And there's nobody in sight. There's not a horse.
Bible world, you know.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
This is the world that they show us, but the world we live in is sorry, come back tomorrow and bring your real Social Security card.
Right.
Okay, I will say Static in the Attic made one good point recently with one of his videos where he said that the long exposure might explain why the cities in the old photos look empty. Is that because if a person wasn't standing there for more than 10 minutes at a time, they won't show up on the photograph and stuff like that because of the long exposure time? What do you guys think about that? It's the one and only video recently out of like the last 5 that I actually thought was okay, like where he was making a good point.
Yeah, that I don't know, man, because it gets so much other detail, telephone poles, things like that. You do see pictures with horses and carts.
He's really been on that debunking warpath, sort of that, lately, right, where he's the debunker of all sorts of things now, I guess.
Right.
Well, he's a unique individual. He's not a stupid man at all. He's a big part of what we've got going on here. He's just wrong about a few things right now, but he's not wrong in a malicious way at all.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm waiting on, guys, and everybody else is waiting on the same thing. I know we aren't saying it. We want our chance to go explore Antarctica or whatever. We want our chance unencumbered to send the people we believe can be trusted to look.
That is the real next step. I agree with that.
There's stock exchange.
Yeah, is to know the truth about, and if there's hidden land and what the hell's going on with all, what are they hiding from us? Because we know they're hiding the North Pole from us. They're hiding the so-called South Pole or the Outer Ring from us. Exactly. And then they're also hiding, I believe, potentially like a whole continent from us or something.
Yeah, like just let us one group of our choosing go where they want to go without any encumbrance. Just let us one time. That's all I'm asking. And
I'm getting suspicious about what's in the South Pacific right now, because if you look on a map, it's one area on Earth where there's like no land for so many miles, thousands of miles. And it's like, okay, I'm starting to think there's a hidden island there. There's something going on with that, because it just seems weird to me that, the rest of the circle of the Earth, which, has a lot of land, except for that one spot, just seems to be really, really, really barren.
And you bring up Hawaii. That was in that video too, where they're talking about, diverted landings on flights, for medical emergencies. Well, they shows a depict of, one story of this one plane that's going from Los Angeles, to Australia or something. Well, mid-flight, guy's having a heart attack. They have to divert, and where it's showing they diverted, it looks closer to go to Hawaii because That's their flight path. It looks like go to Hawaii. That's your spot. No, they landed in Alaska. Why? Because on a flat Earth map, they were going right over Alaska.
But if I had to pick one place right now, I want to see what's at the center of flat Earth. That's what I want to see first.
Where's north? Me and Alan were talking about that earlier in the video. He talks about captains of old wrote in their diaries, hey, you get to a certain point and your navigation is no good anymore. Your compass, it goes nuts. So we try to, here's the line. We don't go past that. Don't know what's there. Can't navigate unless they could navigate by the stars. And the newer, younger generations couldn't navigate by stars. So they can't go there. Because as soon as you get to a certain point, north is that way now. Okay, well, where's true North Pole? It was going that way. Now it's that way. You know what I'm saying? Watch that video. It's got a great portion on it where it talks about that. It makes total sense with the flat Earth model. They're talking about how the magnetic north has been moving. Well, he talks about the 30, the cycle of the whole system, the way it goes. And yeah, that's why the magnetic north is moving. That's what it does. It's not a stationary point. It's a movement. It's a, what do you call it? Vortex. And that video lays it out. That guy who did that stuff, he names him.
I don't think I saw that part of the documentary. And yeah, you're talking about the 5-hour one that came out. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh man, is that really good? Yeah. Highly recommend. Good for new people too to learn about flat Earth and become.
That's what my point was. Talking about it. Yeah,
it's a good one. Does he ever mention millennial reign past? Because I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched about 3 hours or so of it, I think.
Right.
That's
what Tommy was, we were talking about is we just need to get people out there, refocused, on, we're not stupid and we don't have to be on the defensive,
Right.
It was good to see that. Yeah, he was talking about the biblical narrative of creation. It was great. But Tommy, did he actually mention Golden Age past or anything?
No. Okay. See, he never referred to mud flood as, okay, this is what happened, I think, or they say this is what happened. He just kind of goes past them, but you saw many times he talks about intelligent design.
Yeah, he basically talks about everything except Golden Age past. It's like the one topic he doesn't touch on.
That was my point earlier. These people do such good videos, and that next sentence should be, and this is proof of Christ has already returned. The Golden Age is past. It should be. And it would work perfectly, but they don't.
I know. I feel like I should make an addendum to that video and be like, oh, and by the way, guys, this is the last piece of information I wanted to add to that video.
This is what he won't say. He's had a veil lifted because he's seeing so much. But what is he seeing? Does he even understand it? Is it just a lie to him and it has no biblical angle? Is he that person? We don't know, but we're going to use it. I think that's a great idea, Webb. Go in there and just put an addendum in and go, look, this video does A, B, C, and D, and we want to add what it should have that it didn't.
Hey, Stu, I think he's asking for the link to the...
Stu, want to come on?
Hey, Stu, I saw it on a channel called Stolen History is the name of the YouTube channel called Stolen History. They mirrored it.
I put the link in our last video's comments. Okay. I put it in there. I put the link to that video in there. That's where it's at, Stu, if you want to look at it. And he's got another one up, part 7, that's another hour and a half that really, really gets down to just flat Earth. And it doesn't talk about the cymatics and the energy stations and all that like the big long one does. This is more concentrated just on proof of flat Earth.
But just in general, if you guys haven't seen the Stolen History YouTube channel, it's pretty good. Now, they do everything. They do the same thing as that documentary where they literally talk about every issue we do except Golden Age past. Now, they've got a forum, okay? And it's a very kind of academic conspiracy forum, if you want to call it that. They don't allow low quality posts and such. So they kind of have these standards where you have to have high quality posts when you put things on there. And anyways, I created an account, haven't made any posts on there yet, but I did the introduction where I said, I believe in Golden Age past, and this is why, blah, blah, blah. And so I want to start, along with the videos when we produce them, I want to then link on that site because I do think it's a very good forum if you guys haven't checked it out yet.
Right. No, I haven't.
Because they're hitting on tons of good issues on there all the time.
Maybe you can drop that link in.
Yeah, it's called stolenhistory.net is the name of the website.
Okay, cool.
Stolenhistory.net, and it's just Stolen History YouTube channel. So
yeah, well, hey, we all know the Freemasons are behind the hiding of the information. I think that some of these videos, Alan, he's shown several. That one guy that's sitting in that big room with the fireplace and stuff behind him, and he's supposedly in Europe somewhere in Germany, but he's American. He doesn't have an accent. Yeah, but they all do it, right? They all put that stuff out there, but there's some truth in them. You got to lend that to a lot of them. There's some truth in them, and that's what the devil's done forever. He puts a little truth in there, and then, like they were showing on the deal about the guy in the 50s who said the moon is plasma. Well, in 1969, when they went to the moon, the headline was "The moon is not plasma." We went there, so that was done. It's over. It's over. Just 4 years before, the guy's going, "Hey, the moon you can't go there. You can't land on it." And then 4 years later, they're like, nah, you're wrong. Go away. What do you do with that? What do you do with it?
Yeah, these psyops have been really powerful, man. I mean,
the hardest thing is going to be the weight.
It's kind of like Heimlich Himmler said, the bigger the lie, the easier it is to pull it off. And it really is like that.
Right, because people are going to go, wait a minute. You mean they spend $5 million a day to build a water tank to fake space, and they fake shoot rockets up, and they fake do all this stuff?
And it's all about the pyramidal control structure. As long as they have their pyramidal control structure in place, that's that top-down filtering of knowledge and of data and everything. And so they can control the narrative, the entire way.
From the movies we watch at the end of those movies, like the superhero movies, they'll say 15,000 people were employed in making this movie, and it's all compartmentalized. They're all getting paid to put out movies like the one with Sandra Bullock, Gravity, and just space movies of propaganda, and now they're coming across with something that just in 2001 Independence Day we thought was crazy, that we're still dealing with Jimmy Carter, George Bush times 2.
They did.
The worst.
I brought up a good point on the pyramid of the intelligence, amount of information given out. The same thing goes in everyday world. Once you get above mid-management, you're no longer held accountable like mid-management and below are. You get a whole new set of rules. When you get the key to that corporate bathroom, you're in a whole new set of rules now. Down there, you can fire any of those people on the spot. Doesn't matter, especially in government. But once you get here up, not so. Everybody knows it. Everybody's lived through it. Everybody's wondered, how come they, this company does so damn bad? Who's the boss? The boss is a boss. They'll fire you first. They're going to start firing you.
Leaves with a $20 million parachute and everything, golden parachute and everything else.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just, they're in a whole different club, a whole different class, and that's what it's all about, being in that Freemasonic, club.
Yep. People on Twitter bitching about the government and Biden and Fauci. Oh, he should go to prison. I can see it. He's going to prison. No way he doesn't. And I'm like, BS, man. Above middle management never goes to prison, baby. Never.
Yeah.
Somebody below him will go. He won't. He will not go.
They might get whacked, or they fake their death, which happens a lot too. They're real good at doing that. Yeah.
Right, but they won't go to jail. Yeah, I never seen it in my lifetime. Name one. Name one big time government official that really screwed us up bad that paid.
You guys want to look at some Bible stuff and kind of tie it in like that?
Yes, always.
Sure.
Okay, check out this.
Let me add it.
Now, this picture right here is this is the rock, and you can see, you know, it has the lines. And they've carved it out, and it has this impression on it. This is a seal, the type of seal they talk about in the Bible, you know, and they roll it, and this is what it would look like. To me, it's a depiction of the fourth ventricle in the body and everything else. But let's just see if you can hear this.
Right here, on the pattern of the center of the king's garment, placing him right in the center with a beautiful line of the stone. But most importantly, that is not all. If you actually were able to turn the stone, as you now can on the website, this is what you will find. These are all images taken off the website. For the very first time, never before seen.
So, you know, not only are they using the stones, you know, for their, and their, you know, microscopic, very intricate, you know, detailed seal drawings, they're also using the part of the stone that I think is probably the corpus calestrum, or something that is very significant. Tommy, you might pick up an idea, you know.
Right, that's crazy. Looking right there. That is really wild looking.
I'm picking up some kind of a weird echo on Alan's audio.
That's his subwoofer. It's under his table and it vibrates.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his subwoofer when he plays on his end. But we
I can turn it down.
Yeah, when we look at stuff like that, it's just, you know, where's another explanation other than what we've already heard? It was a layer of soil, then another, and this is what you get. You know, is anybody ever going to stand up besides us and go, no, that's a body part?
Hey, Alan, I didn't hear what you were saying about the stone, though. What was the point you were making on that?
That not only did they use the type of, you know, they had that intricate drawing that when you roll this out, you know, you saw the drawing the seal would make. But I think that they're using a very important gemstone from when the glittering sword froze everybody and sealed them in their judgment so that the stones would cry out someday. This is a part of the brain, the corpus calestrum, that is sealed. It is a very important part of, you know, so not only would it be, you know, here's my seal, you know, and it basically, you know, these are the people, when they rolled a seal, they talked about in the New Testament, Old Testament, it's this type of quality, you know, and, you know, I'm looking for and they knew what they were doing with the stones. This was a handle to turn it.
Right.
So the stones were crying out. I wouldn't be surprised if the people that were the watchmen on the wall back in the day, you know, they're the ones that, you know, they understood the Bible. They left us these messages, you know, because I don't see how we were supposed to, you know, it talks about in the Bible, it was written for those and those who come after. But for the time period that we're living in, there's precious little that we are to go by, except, you know, well, that's how they made it. And we have to fall upon, you know, the Lord. Whereas I'm at a point, Webb, I'm at a point, Tommy, to where Randy, my big brother, has been talking about, should we be even doing communion anymore, since God said, do this in remembrance of me until I return. And well, he's returned. And so why do we have fights over communion when the book of Galatians tells us things that are acceptable to argue about, and communion's not one of them?
Yeah.
And baptism also. You know,
Well, I was thinking about how
just until Jesus come back, or should we really worry about it? Because
I was thinking about how he told them to sell everything they had and follow him. Now he was talking to them. Was he telling us here, over 1,000 years later, to do the same thing? I mean, obviously the love of money is the root of all evil, but is just having some stuff right now, is that such a bad thing? Like, does that make you an unchristian person, I guess? You know what I mean?
No,
Because you're not stealing every last thing and giving it for God right now.
No, I think that's translated easily into just be humble. If you're humble, you need what you need. I don't think God, he's going to.
Right. I mean, you still have the lesson there for us, but it's not like, but back then for those people, he was literally telling them to do that.
Exactly.
Because he knew he was coming back right away. And so he was just like, hey, just give up all your stuff. It's all about to get melted, basically. In the fervent heat and everything else.
That's a real good point, Webb.
I do believe that Christian socialism is what's taught in the New Testament.
It is.
And
it is
that
actually,
we should, the money that we have, although, we're taught the lessons, what they say, it's Corbin. To me, that's like saying my money's in a 401k. I can't help mommy because I'll get a tax deferment, and it's just, I can't touch it right now. There's a lot of different things for us to survive the next 25 years. And that's the hard part. Everybody wants a 5-year plan, this and that, a short mind around, because as things are going to get worse and worse, and they will, I really feel there is going to be the people in the city and the corporate church, the Christian socialists who have all things in common. And what they're not doing is looking for a Shaker utopian, a Quaker utopian, a Amana colonies, an Oneida colonies. There is no utopian world. For the next 25 years, if we want to have a generation that's not millstone, they're going to be taught from a very early age. We spare not the rod, and we work by the sweat of our brows 6 days a week.
Right.
And sweet is the sleep of a working man. We have warriors that don't kill because we are in a spiritual war. And we still have Jesus who said, don't pick up the sword. You're in a war. But the days of King David and dying by the swords, it's not worth it anymore, because we're going to love our enemies. And by loving them, that is leaving them, letting them let them do their thing, but away from millstoning our children. And if we have to say, hey, well, you took down that tower because we told you there's no 5G towers on our children. They don't need them. They don't have cell phones. We don't need your 5G. We're not.
We can program that we do.
It's going to be something like that, but it's not just going to be, Christians are going to change the world and we're going to get along with the world.
Right. And what we've seen so far, just what we can observe, that's all I ever go on, is observable in my lifetime. There's not been a single church, I don't care where you go, any continent, that has done and risen to any prominence that was truly a holy place. They might have gotten rich, but were they winning souls? What were they doing? It hasn't happened in our time. And that explains the devil loose to me more than anything, that churches in themselves have become nothing more than a money laundering scheme. You give, you get to take it off your taxes. The church gets it tax-free, and they fund their lifestyle instead of the word, instead of, like you said, we talked about being humble and being biblical. You turn it back to those people. You turn it back to the needy, the widows, you take care of the children. That's what you do, but they don't.
The people right now hate tithing. They hate the church. They hate anything to do with it. But, there still is the Bible thing that says that it's an honorable thing for a man to aspire to be a bishop.
Right.
Well, how can you have a bishop if you can't have a church? Because all those son of a bitches are just going to steal my money, and I'm not tithing one more penny because I gave $10. You never tithed in your life, most of those people. Most of the people that hate tithing never have tithed in their life.
Amen, right? It's like it's a country club. Churches are country clubs anymore. That's basically what it is. The ones that do tithe, they look at it as a big tip to the preacher. Here you go, buddy. Thanks for serving it up. The meat was a little tough, but hey, there you go. Take it, buy yourself something nice. It's not about the Lord's work. It's not about getting the word of God out. It's not about living, like Alan just said, as a bishop. Do these preachers go into service with their little certificate going, I'm going to be on guard every minute. I am such in a responsible position. I have to. My family has to reflect. Everything has to reflect God. I can't do this unless I do it that way. Do you think they do that? Doesn't seem like it.
Let me ask this question to Webb. Webb, I want to live in a world where there's tribes of 10 families, 100 families, 1,000 families, and that a tribe of 100 might wait the day after a wedding to see the father-in-law. Is it so wrong in the Bible that the father-in-law could come out and say, look, there's the blood from my virgin daughter, and the whole village rejoiced and said, yes.
Yeah, right.
It was something that they were proud of.
Yeah.
Those days don't have to be.
None of us have really ever experienced a world like that.
Right.
Where people had real Christian values.
Before I ate my first one either.
The places that I've lived, where there were small towns and everywhere that you would call Christian, towns and everything like that. Okay, everything I ever experienced in some of those places was a lot of judgment if you weren't there and you didn't feel welcome, and it was not the type of Christianity, not the type of Christian community I would want to live in,
right?
Where people are all gossiping about each other behind their backs and this and that and judging them and not taking the mote out of their own eye before, or not taking the beam out of their own eye, you know what I mean? Before judging everybody else. And it's just like, that part of it I don't like, really. I mean, obviously everybody judges the actions of, if you got somebody running around town fornicating and doing all sorts of sinful things, obviously people are going to be talking about that, I suppose. But
amen. But it's one of those things.
I don't know. I don't really know how to say it, because I mean, even for me, like smoking cannabis has been one of those things where 99% of Christians, or like 95% probably, are going to look down on you because you
so against it, right?
And so it's like, I'm already excluded from their church,
Exactly right. But that's the thing. If they're a Christian mind, and I think that's what you're trying to say. Why not every person that walked through the door? They are your brother and sister, and they're seeking the word. And your love your vibe, the whole vibe of that church should be just amazing.
Right. Like if I was going to live in a Christian community like that, where I knew like my neighbors and everybody was like really friendly with one another, and everybody was treating their neighbor as though they would want to be treated themselves, I mean, that's what it would really be such a great place to live.
Amazing, right? Where everybody's seeking that narrow path, it changes everything. Right. When you're one person seeking a narrow path in a group of 1,000, you are the oddball, buddy.
And your neighbor, one day he helps you with one thing, and then on a different day you help him with a different thing. You know what I mean? And that's how you get things done a lot of the time.
Right. There's a plumber over there, construction guys down the road. Oh, Lady Johnson's roof is messed up. Let's go, guys.
Right.
Fix her house. Plumbing's down on the Johnson house down the street. Let's go get it fixed for them.
Right.
Okay. Everybody in the comments is going to want to see your guys' opinion on this. If I could share the screen one more time, because honestly, if this doesn't generate some conversation in the chat room, I don't know what will. Neighbors fear bear-themed compound will be next Ruby Ridge. And alt-right comedians plan for a remote patch of land in Idaho have terrified his neighbors, who fear it could become a hostile compound or mark the start of a new Ruby Ridge style standoff. And there you go. You know who that is, Tommy.
Right. And that's what's so crazy. I read that. You said it to me and I read it. And the whole thing is, it just reeks of a plant that somebody called these people and went, hey, do you know what's going on there? And they're like, what? Oh, it could be bad. It could be real bad. He's a conspiracy guy. He approves of guns. They're going to have shooting ranges and classes. Oh, run, people, run. Don't let them in your town. Don't let them near you.
Did anybody have any concept of, did he really claim Adolf Hitler was trying to clean Germany of the parasites? Because that sounds like awful.
Well, it's out.
I've heard it talk about it. Owen, he jokes about everything, like nothing's off limits. So he probably did say jokes like that.
Yes, he has. I've seen the deals where
he's pretty funny, you know what I mean? But he's also pretty off color too. So.
Yeah, but he tells that joke right there about the Nazis and stuff. He tells that in the context of, before he says that joke, he's talking about the Jews and their banking system, and they controlled this and they controlled that. They controlled all these things. And, you know, Hitler was just trying to get rid of the parasites. He didn't say the Jews per se. He meant that, you know, all these people in the banking. Well, if that's Jews.
Yeah.
So
what it is with these news stories is they don't have anything else to write about, so they just make stuff up.
Yeah.
You know, they just they have fantasies of right-wing, you know, death squads and whatever else that doesn't even exist.
Well, they have to. That's like projection. That's projection. They've always done that. The left has always projected onto the right what they're actually doing. What they're actually doing real time. They're like, you got to watch these people. This is what they're going to do.
People are just clickbait artists, you know, nowadays.
Yeah, it would be hard to set him up. How would you guys feel if you gave a $400 donation because you were told you would be entitled to a 2-week vacation, but then, oops, nope, that's not going to work?
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't be happy about that.
He called himself, you know, no, I was an idiot for even suggesting it. Sorry.
But he didn't give the money back?
From what we understand, he hasn't. I haven't seen him.
Well, that's pretty shady, you know. That's pretty shady.
Yeah, people have complained and talked about it. I haven't seen him say, hey, here's what I'm doing for those people who did donate. He needs to do that. Go, look, hey, I'm not stiffing them. What I do have here, you can come, you people who paid, and get your 2 weeks. Yeah, he's got to do that. If not, dude, you're worthless. If your word can't be your bond as a Christian, you better walk on. Just keep going.
He's supposed to be in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, supposedly really, really sequestered. And the few people that are around him that they talk about in here, it's hard to believe they're like, oh, yeah, we got to run him out.
Well, here he says, you know, if you try to squat on my land, I have my own paramilitary squad. I have my own private paramilitary force. And then, of course, he was just joking. I do not have a paramilitary squad.
Right. But they'll take those clips, right?
They'll take anything out of context also.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, and I haven't been tuned into him lately. I need to go back and see what's going on. But from what I understood, those people stirring this up was one of the reasons that he backed out on the whole big area and having people come, because these people are already giving him grief, and it's just him. You know, it's just him right now. And they're already coming in going, What are you going to do when you have all these people show up and they're like, oh, no. You ain't got
his problem is he just showed up in Idaho. I mean, if he was from there forever, then maybe he'd have a better shot at or whatever. But you just all of a sudden show up from New York to Idaho, and then you think you're going to set up like your big camp right next to everybody that's been living there for decades.
Right.
Potentially, you know. Might not go so well.
Exactly. But he did it just like he does everything. He rolls in hard, laughing and telling jokes, and sits, does it. And then he looks around and goes, what do you mean you don't want me to do this? Well, you know, dude, you just kind of rolled in here with a joke here and a joke there, and you bought some land, and now you're doing a compound?
Right.
You know, and what I don't appreciate is that as hard as I'm trying to question the Trinity and get people to realize, you know what, real Christians wouldn't have killed other people for not believing the same as they did about the Trinity. Just getting them to start there. He's coming at it with such vitriol and hatred and just kind of like, I don't want to talk about the Trinity one more time because you guys are like just like morons. And he doesn't take the Bible serious enough for me at all. But
well, yeah, he's a waste of time. I haven't watched him in over a year probably now. I mean, I liked him for a while when he first came out, a little bit on YouTube, and he was telling some jokes and some funny things here and there, and he was making some good points, and he was supporting flat Earth, I think, at one point, you know, talking about it. And so I was watching a little bit, and then eventually I just was like, whatever, and I stopped. I think I even unsubbed, or maybe his channel got shut down, and I just never. I think that's what happened. He got censored, actually, is what happened.
Oh, yeah, he got censored and kicked off.
So after that, I was like, whatever. I don't care about Owen Benjamin that much anymore because he doesn't talk. He doesn't really say that many useful things anymore. You know?
Yeah, he's one of those guys, and for what he brings to the table as far as just common sense, he's real good. He's real good at reading the rhetoric and understanding their true nature. He's real good at that. And his comedy was fine. But when he starts, he even admitted early on, I watched him early on, that he's a new Christian. He's new to this and he's still learning. And he made a real effort to, you know, for people asking biblical questions, he would go, I don't know, man. I'm new to this. I'm still learning. Early on, that's what he did. Now, lately, I don't know. I guess he learned all he needed to learn and doesn't really humble himself anymore.
No, I've gone through tons of people that I don't listen to anymore just because they're a waste of time, in my opinion. I'm talking dozens, like, of people from what I used to listen to that are still around, still making stuff, but I just don't ever follow them anymore, watch them or anything anymore.
Yeah, I've got a ton on my subscribe page that, what happened? They did something that I just went, no, can't do that. Can't go there.
Okay, I had a Bible chapter pulled out, Tommy. If you don't mind, we can read it. That way we got a Bible study in here tonight.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, I can do one too if you guys don't mind. I don't know how much time you got tonight or not. But.
Okay, well, here's one, Job chapter 38. Can you guys, is my audio okay?
It's pretty good. It was echoing earlier, but it sounds good now. So.
Okay, this is good stuff. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Dress for action like a man. I will question you, and you make it known to me. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measurement? Surely you know. Or who stretched out the line upon it? Or what were its bases sunk, or who laid its cornerstone when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Or who shut in the sea with doors when it burst out from the womb, when I made clouds its garment and thick darkness its swaddling band, and prescribed limits for it, and set bars and doors, and said, thus far shall thou come and no further, and here shall your proud waves be stayed. Have you commanded the morning since your days began, and caused the dawn to know its place, that it might take hold of the skirts of the earth, and the wicked be shaken out of it? It is changed like clay under the seal. Now, we just looked at those seals, and we know how intricate it was in Bible times. And its features stand out like a garment. From the wicked their light is withheld, and their uplifted arm is broken. Have you entered into the springs of the sea, or walked in the recesses of the deep? Have the gates of death been revealed to you? Or have you seen the gates of deep darkness? Have you comprehended the expanse of the earth? Declare it if you know all this. Where is the way to the dwelling of the light, and where is the place of darkness? That you may take it to its territory, or that you may discern the path to its home. You know, For you were born then, and the number of your days is great. Have you entered the storehouses of the snow? Did you know there were storehouses of snow?
Not
Have you
till
seen
now.
the storehouses of the hail? It's in the firmament somewhere.
Right.
And which I have reserved for the time of trouble. And we hear about some hailstones are 10 cubits by 20 cubits. Prepared for the day of battle and war. What is the way to the place where the light is disturbed, or where the east wind is scattered upon the earth? Who has cleft a channel for the torrents of rain? Now, who cleft the channel? You can talk about who cleft the channel, but it's described in Habakkuk and Nahum. It's why the seas don't all run, the rivers don't run to the sea anymore. They had to carve out channels with the glittering sword, and we have gorges now that lead to drainage, because it was he who had cleft the channel for the torrents of rain, and a way for the thunderbolt to bring rain on a land where no man is, on a desert in which there is no man, to satisfy the wasted desolate land, and to make the ground sprout with grass. Skipping to 31, can you bind the chains of Pleiades or loose the cords of Orion? We're really deep in the Bible is a history book. It is a science book. When you study the tabernacle, like the one guy who's proving the tabernacle was a model of an eyeball and a dome. It is pi. It's the first example of pi in the world. The Bible's everything. Guide the bear and its children, lead forth to Nazareth. This is a Bible world. It's a Bible book. And all we can do is just be insistent that, the whole world is about Jesus Christ is God. Everything he said in the Bible is true. And there's going to be people that build hospitals in his name, and he doesn't say you almost made it. He says, depart from me, you're cursed and vile, I never knew you. That's what worries me. We got to get to the bottom of this, Tommy.
Right. And for me, I'm so upset about the stolen history and the stolen technology is that I would give anything to be able to be out on a starry night and not have to look at a clock, look at a calendar, and be able to understand the environment around me. That's what bugs me about them taking all the information. Oh, and the Bible, it tells in so many different ways about when you learn and understand nature and you understand the skies, then you're gonna be ready. But you have to understand all these things. And it just hurts me. It kills me that we've been robbed of that knowledge.
Yeah.
And because we could, where would our hearts be? Where would our center be if we knew to the second where we are in time? Since God said, "Let there be light."
It all goes back to World War I. We hear about him going back then. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I was studying a little bit of him. He dedicated the last 30 years of his life to spiritualism, because after World War I, so many people died, and everybody was just into. They all died young. Now I'm going to die. Everything was just completely crazy.
So that chapter you just shared was really descriptive about how the earth works, kind of, and how the firmament and everything, all the waters, and
Right.
That was good stuff. I need to go back and look at that one. That was Job, which
38.
38. Okay.
Imagine having all the knowledge of that time with the word on your heart. How amazing could it be for you and your family? To have that kind of understanding of God's ways and will and works. That gripes me. They've taken all that from us. We don't even have hardly
Well,
have a chance.
I mean, I have it now because I can just sit here and understand how the real world works, not the fake one that they gave us, you know? So, and so I can sit here and understand. It's just, I have that understanding now that I didn't used to have. So,
Yeah. I just
but
wish
if the
I knew
whole
more.
family has it, like you said, it's just even that 10 times better because it's like exponentially better. It's just not, it increases and not in just a linear fashion, but every person, like every node in a network makes the network exponentially stronger.
When you're your whole life exposed to those perfect vibrations, just imagine the effect on your health alone.
Mm-hmm.
Just one little thing.
I honest to goodness was told in 2004 I'd be in a wheelchair by 2008. You know, I had degenerative degenerative 2 discs in my back. I had to have spinal fusion, and you know, they want you to give up. They don't realize that as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. We have so much more from the Bible, and we have the truth. You know, it's hard right now. You know, I can't stand that they have the salt of the earth type Q people waiting now until August for Trump to come back. And I honestly cannot stand to look at that smug, proud looking face of Donald Trump. Just, I'll bring back. They never cheated anybody like they cheated me. That guy's so in on it. He's so in on it.
And another perfect part of the programming, they can actually introduce someone that is the villain, and they'll get their percentage that will make him the hero. And they can do that they've done that with every one of them. Always that divide. We love him, we hate him. Always got it. Never once is there consensus on anyone ever, never done.
I liked Ronald Reagan and Cheney. You
and
know,
people try to kill him.
I get it. I was fooled too.
Yeah. And it's just, they work that part of the program so well. They keep us off balance constantly. It's mind numbing.
Oh, I got another thing. I want to share another thing. Here's another, you know, because I see that, and I don't want to, I'm not picking on Anthony for bringing up the book of Enoch, but I just found some things, Tommy, that I think that I have it on another window thing here, man.
Well, it was Anthony that sent me that video anyway. Thanks a lot, Anthony. That was a good one. Appreciate it.
That's not
Anthony, we don't really take Enoch with much of we don't give it a lot of credit in this
where is that Nag Hammadi?
I guess you could say this group.
Yeah, if it's not,
but you're right, it does go on to describe a lot of things, and I agree. When I used to really like Enoch too, and then before I realized, hey, we need to figure out the Bible first, which is way more important. Then we can maybe go back and look at other books too. I totally agree with that now. I mean,
because I'm finding out more and more. It's very suspicious. They only found a portion of the book of Enoch in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Very little of it survived. But I just found out. I remember. You know, what is this? Come on, Alan.
It does matter where truth is revealed, Andy, only that if it is the truth, you know, which we know that the Bible is the truth, right? So that's why we go to that. But it does matter what I mean, if I'm going to say the Vedic texts are true or the Bhagavad Gita or whatever all those other names are of the books are true, it's like, you know, then we got problems.
Well, we're looking at Nag Hammadi Library, and if anybody's wondering where all of these 2nd century gospel Gnostic texts and all of their everything else was and when they were found, nobody knew about it until 1945. And even the pseudographical Bibles and everything else like that. I'm finding that the more I study it, those things, they didn't even have proof of those things until they came out with the third edition of the perfect King James Version, which was the copyright from the 1870s that everybody goes, no, this is the 1611. King James is perfect. They make me want to throw up. I'm frustrated. All this stuff is new, man. We got the Bible. We got 66 books, and it was written to people 1,300 years ago. We got 25 years left before Jesus comes back in Gog and Magog. And if anybody's going to be blessed are those who make the last 45 years, it's going to be because they're running and hiding and not realizing my faith is in this world. Look at these guys, man. This guy, we got people like, oh, this is a good one. Flat Earth Bingo, these other guys rolling things and.
Well, yeah, Job 38 talked about God rolled he basically rolled maybe a giant rock on the earth to make it into like different hills and valleys everywhere, almost like a seal, like that stone you showed us.
All right.
These things, we don't know if they're body parts. We don't know how many different creations there were before our creation, because we just don't know. There are things revealed, and then there are things hidden. Here's what we've got.
Well, I think we know what is revealed so far, and it's been a recent revelation, has been that some rocks we know for a fact pretty much are body parts. Like, it's pretty much confirmed. I mean,
right.
I'm not ready to say every rock's a body part. I'm just not on that. I'm just not on board with that yet. But you know what I mean?
Oh, but you will be. You will be. Now let's look at this here. I'll show you where. Where's that thing from Nevin? This guy he's followed me, and I've been trying to deal with him for a long time. And it's all, look at this, I'm going to change history. And it's, of course, in his world, everything's an elephant. You know why everything's an elephant?
Because you draw with blue on the screen?
Because he doesn't want to believe that all of it could be human. So it's easy, because if it's human, it's Bible, and I'm right, and all the rocks are from previous creations, and we're made from their dust. And instead, with them, it can be, the guy that Andrea Xerxes told Dr. Mark from Spain, the chiropractor, and now he's going like, oh, yeah, he's right. But it also can be elephants, too. So now Nevin is, yep, Bible's wrong. It's all elephants. Well, that's what we're dealing with. And he's going to change. I'm going to change history, because it's all these star forts are built on the back of elephants. Isn't it easy when all you have to do is just disagree with the Bible?
That's always the way.
No, that is true. I mean, that is how people basically peacock to other people as though they're smart and intelligent, is they say things that are, essentially contrary to the Bible, and that makes you smart.
Yep. You don't agree with the Bible, you're in the door first thing.
Yep.
And a lot of people, they're not with the Bible when they always say the science.
Luther hit mute on himself.
Somebody hit mute.
Yeah, then two days ago, it's like, I did. That's something I would do.
The rapture's coming soon, said Scotty.
Scotty my cornhole is a elephant. That game seems fun. I want to learn how to be really good at that game where you throw the bags.
Well, I have to imagine that if you're at a camp of the saints in a beloved city and you've been compassed about by Gog and Magog, and then fire rains down from heaven and destroys them, and then right after that judgment day, the heaven and earth are wiped away and you're in the presence of the Lord. That's pretty much like a rapture right there.
It is. It's exactly.
That is like a rapture right there.
Many young people today that are in their 30s and 40s will be alive. And 25 years, it is a long time. It seems like a long time, but believe me, I've seen a couple of them roll by. I'm 63, and I remember when I turned 25. I remember when I turned 50 and going like, wow, that was another quarter of a century. They kind of fly by.
I'm beginning to believe, though, that many of those 20 and 30-year-olds that you speak of won't actually be around in 25 years. They're going to fall victim to things like, the devices of the devil that are there to.
Oh my God! There's going to be some of them that get their hands cut off because they didn't pick enough cocoa plants and stuff. There's going to be a lot of meanness going on. We've got to run and hide people because there is nothing right now that is going to improve. It is only going to get worse.
Well, yeah, and what I'm saying too is with the depopulation agenda, a lot of those people are going to fall victim to the depopulation agenda. I'm trying to dance around an issue that I'm just trying not to get Tommy Strikes on his channel right now.
Right, they're low-hanging fruit.
No.
Right? We're people like us. We're on that have channels, and we're saying the things we say. We're going to be the low-hanging fruit. They're going to try and get first. Yeah. There's a reason for us. The copyright strikes, platform abuse, all that. Guarantee that.
The Act of 1813. That would have been just when they were first discovering it. From Bob Marley. He says, also I discovered a Gates G-Pa pushing Spanish flu in 1917. They're always doing that, and it always goes back to World War I. Isn't it so convenient? The X-Files made a big deal about the Spanish flu.
Right.
And it's like the most deadly thing ever.
The same people that write the script for the Spanish flu are the same people that write the script for the X-Files. They're in the same club. I mean, they're of a different generation, but they're from the same. And, the same people that write the scientific papers and tell us about Ball Earth and outer space are the same people that make movies and things in Hollywood.
Could you answer that question I asked earlier, Webb, about how does the average height of somebody in World War II, that's 1945, go from 5'6" to 1970, 5'10"? That's an average man.
They come back home and marry big farm girls. That's what happened. They came home and married big farm girls. That's what happened.
That's a big too big of a jump. No, but it is all of those orphan trains. It has to be the orphan trains, and the eugenics was much bigger and more widespread than we ever dreamed possible.
So the agenda is to breed taller people, I suppose.
They did it. They got it.
Yeah.
Eugenics. They got something done. That changed.
And maybe nowadays the people are even taller than they used to be even 40 years ago. Or
I would bet you, just in my lifetime, knowing the mentality of people who wanted their children to be athletes, professional athletes.
Right.
You know as well as I do, you always saw the tallest guys and the tallest girls, the biggest people.
Well, yeah, and it's been a fact that if you've been above average height, that you have a lot of advantages in society, like if you're a man, especially, not a woman, but
Right.
They picked them out.
Yeah.
We studied that one the Amana colonies or one of those things. And they were basically, from the time they were children, they had women training the boys in tantric sex and men training the girls in how to keep men from ejaculating. And then they would choose who was born. And it was all a honky breeding situation because you know, people don't want to hear it, but they want a race war and they're going to get it.
Oh, they've been pushing for that race war for decades now. I mean, I've seen it. It's just ridiculous how they've been.
Well, remember, guys, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the only 7-footer in the NBA until the 80s. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, now look how many 7-footers there are out there. How many 7+ footers? You never heard of a guy 7'4", and it was a Chinese dude, man.
Yeah, and they've been able to do a lot of they've been able to do a lot of damage to the race relations. But thankfully, I feel like people just aren't really into it being racist like that. You know, they're just not really for the most part.
Nobody I know is.
It's still a big minority who are racist in any direction.
How much work did they put into embarrassing the woke movement and the Black Lives Matter by setting up the worst people in charge of it to be like, no, I deserve this $500,000 house. And it's like, of course you don't deserve it. And the victims' parents don't get the money. It's just another setup to bring disillusionment, to keep people in the city, to keep people thinking that they're going to make a change in this world. We just, you know, we occupy Wall Street, do this, do that. Nothing's going to work. It's going to have to be come out and be ye separate. And when it says, when you're under authority in this world to the people, it's the people that you, well, if you want to render unto Caesar, go live under Caesar. If you want to be under authority of somebody that's going to be a bishop and this and that and say, hey, I want to do this, there should be that opportunity. How it's going to evolve, I have no idea. You know, but it's going to happen because it's not going to happen in that the beautiful city that is encompassed about is a little bit in Boston and a little bit in San Francisco and a little bit in London, a little bit in Melbourne, a little bit in Sydney, a little bit in Ottawa. No, it's going to happen. They're going to be aware. They're going to come looking. They're going to be encompassed about. They're going to leave. They couldn't find him. It's going to happen.
God's going to provide ways for people
affordable for them to keep looking.
Maybe a supernatural way. Maybe God could open up a portal right in front of you, and you could just walk right through it. If he wanted to, he could do that, and you would end up.
Or we could go find houses that they used to live in, because right now Mesa Verde and the cliff dwellings, that's just the one that they use for tourism. There's hundreds of them out there. Everywhere. Go find a ghost town, dig under it, and there's a series of tunnels everywhere around the world. We can find places to hide, and we have to act like our lives of our children are worth saving. I know if I had, you know, if I was my grandson, I have a 2-year-old, Tommy's expecting his first, I would think, wow, we should try to do whatever we can. And right now, we're at war with a spiritual warfare in the world that has blinded everybody into believing that for 2,000 years, the Greeks thought it was round, so you should too.
Right. Yeah, Bob Marley, yeah, I see that comment, dude, and I agree to a point, but you've got to imagine that it's a brand new system, and just the jab of the needle sends that brand new system that just got its first, breath in it is jabbed, and every system's on alert now. Adrenaline system, every system's like, what was that? Immune system kicks in. We've got an injury. Just that process of a stick, let alone what's in that needle, in that syringe, just that
aborted fetal cells, blood.
Just that trauma of the stick, first off, to a brand newborn baby has got to send its system into chaos. And then you add the poison, and remember, this is a brand new system, just started, entertaining the outside world, and you do that to it. It's just
Well,
crazy.
yeah, because of the worldview, this ball earth and everything else, evolution and all that, they have that cold, those doctors, those nurses have that cold mentality that leads to the way they're treating those little newborns with the, you know, with the needles and everything else, because it's just, you know, it's such a cold, sterile environment. Those hospitals, you always get like a real bad vibe. I mean, stay away from hospitals as long as you can, unless you absolutely have to be at one or something, you know, because I mean, they're just not good places to be at, you know,
But
even birthing children and everything.
Well, Bob, I'm sorry to disagree with you on that. That we come out with a perfect immune system. The bad bacteria that comes in, the good bacteria does its job. If we don't get poison injected into us and all that, we're fed right. We have a perfect immune system from the jump.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tommy. That's what it's all about. It's we don't need anything when we're born like that, and we don't need any vaccines at all when we get older. It's just ridiculous. It's just our medical system is definitely. I mean, I hesitate to use the word evil, but in some ways it is. You know, I mean, there's evil parts to the medical system, and like, you know, there's good parts to it too, I guess. But overall, I mean, it has that mentality of atheist. It has that atheist mentality that really makes it a very uncompassionate type of.
A lot of difference in it in a tire store. You go there, you want to get better. You go to the tire store, you want new tires. Here's what we'll do.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put you in a bay over here, and we'll do this. And you know, all right, it's time to leave. Your blood work says leave. Go. You know, barely any hands on anymore. My wife told me, you need to go see somebody about your back. You got to get something done. And I'm like, there's not a doctor out there in the last 10 years that even puts hands on people and goes, where does it hurt? What's going on?
Right.
They don't even touch you. They're like, I'll see it, and let me get an MRI of you, and then I'll call you when it comes in. They don't even touch you.
Well, you better believe I'd be going to every good massage therapist and chiropractor I've seen on YouTube before I'd ever let somebody cut my back open and do surgery on it, because I've seen some pretty good techniques being used all over the place by some of these people, and I would definitely be referring to them first before I would ever try to go surgical on anything. You know what I mean?
Right. When I found out about that Rife guy, the Royal Rife and Rife frequency machines, I looked into it and stuff, and I'm gonna buy me one. They're pretty expensive, but I'm about to get one.
Yeah, I mean, some of the techniques that I've seen from the chiropractors that are great are some of the one called the ring dinger, where your whole spine is basically decompressed all at once. And then there's another one where they do the palmar rotary break on your neck, which is great. And then they do the just a bunch of other things, but also there's a technique called scraping that I've seen, where you put oil on the skin and then you use like a metal object to scrape the skin, and it pulls the toxins to the surface of it. And it's really good to break up the fibrotic adhesions in your muscle as well. And so you can get so much relief from those kind of things, versus like you go to a regular doctor, straight to drugs and surgery.
Right, a pill. You're hurting here. What do you want? They don't even say, well, how about we start, do you take Motrin? You know, they don't even start there. They're just like, oh, what do you want?
Right.
If a good drug addict always would do, they'd be like, oh, yeah, man, only oxycodone.
Tylenol is a poison. Tylenol is a poison.
All of it is, right? All of it. But yeah, the natural process of human life and growth and knowledge has been taken from us. It's all been taken. Nobody has had a chance for a clean, fresh start in the last 200 years. They're always having
how about a society where people are not afraid to give each other a hug and give each other a massage to make them feel better, and it doesn't have to be anything sexual, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or you know, or just do a favor for that person, and because you know that they could use it.
Right. Everybody's always about me, right?
Right.
That's what we've been taught. I mean, yeah, Webb, that's perfect, because that's what we've been taught. If I do something for you, I'm expecting something in return. That's material.
Right. How about doing things and not expecting anything in return, right? Very rare, it seems like nowadays, huh?
Right. And it's not only rare, it's almost unthinkable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these kids these days, they want to get paid before they ever lift a finger. They want to know.
That's because that's what they've been taught, yeah.
Right. Right. It's
if
one of
they're
those
taught
skills.
to more charity, they're gonna, they're not gonna expect it as much. But the whole system is based on greed and
Materialism.
Take. It's all about me, take. That's the whole tax system, everything is based on it.
What do you think that whole show, Millionaires, back in the 70s, Homes of the Millionaires or whatever it was?
The Homes of the Rich and Famous.
Cribs. Yeah, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Cribs. Just shoving it in our face, face.
The materialism, yeah. Oh, they really got everyone hooked on the materialism real good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, your generation, my generation.
How does somebody your age, Webb, just wanting to be a web developer, you're active, you're going. I mean, you're looking at it and you're seeing trillions of dollars in debt when it was just like a few years ago, it was 800 billion for the whole national debt. And now it's $1 trillion a year. I mean, that's not sustainable. How can someone your age look at that and go, we'll make it work?
It's an interesting topic that we could talk about if you'd like. I've got a few minutes. If you don't mind me going off for a few minutes, I can talk about the topic of money itself. Does that sound interesting to you,
Tommy?
Oh gosh, yeah. Especially if it's truth based, because what they're telling us ain't true.
Here's the thing about money that we need to realize is that, first of all, the Bible does not say that money is evil. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. So money is just a tool, obviously, right? It's just all money is, and I love that, Alan, on your channel, how in your description you say I believe it's something like all money is fictional or something, including gold and silver and fiat, and I'll add Bitcoin to that. All money is fictional, no matter what type it is, whether it be gold, silver, whether it be a fiat paper currency, a number in a computer. It's all fictional, at its core. And so for me, the way I look at it, like you're saying, as far as the system being super corrupt and the trillion, the multi-trillion never-ending debt that's obviously going to collapse, and obviously, it's not going to work out, and they're going to move to a new system at that point. So I actually personally do like Bitcoin. I know you guys don't like it very much. But I am a fan of it because... Hold
on. I've got Bitcoin.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm a fan of it, and I have been for a while. And so to me, the system, of all the systems that are fictional money, which includes Bitcoin, okay? So I'm not saying Bitcoin isn't a fictional form of money. It is, just like all money is, okay? It happens to be the best form of money that's ever been created, though, including gold and silver or paper fiat currency. It is actually the best system that's ever been created in terms of just being a sound money. Okay.
Well, when Abraham bought the tomb for his bride, Sarah, he said, "Whatever you guys call money, I got it."
I got it.
All money is
we do silver. We do silver. And he goes, I got silver.
Money is really just a representation of the things that we want, which is things like houses and cars and whatever, vacations or other things that we desire that require money to purchase, right?
Yeah, Tommy made a conscious effort of having 10 different types of money.
And so those are the real things that have real value, right? Are the things that money buys. It's not the money itself.
Right.
If that makes sense. But of course, the money itself has a market value that floats on the market.
Right.
It's not hard to understand. And it's not an evil thing. And I'm just trying to say it's not an evil thing. Now, what the Bible tells us is an evil thing and not a good thing is usury. And we should not be engaging in usury. If at all possible.
Exactly. Otherwise, the woman at the well who had At the end of the day, she had 2 pennies left, and she gave it to the offering for the other people that she considered poor.
Right.
That was, if money was evil, she sinned.
Right. And he said she gave more than you, even though she gave a smaller amount, because it meant so much more to her in her circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, A+ gold star.
And I will say this about money in my life personally, what I have experienced, and it is somewhat strange, and I know it's not what everyone else has experienced, but the less concerned I've been about my wealth and money in the world, the more the world has just given me. It's very strange.
I bought a couple of those Bitcoins for $2,000. I'd like them too.
Right.
But I literally don't sit around really ever and think about money and how much I want it and things like that. And yet I feel like the Lord has actually just given me a comfortable life that I quite honestly don't deserve, but he's using me. He's doing it on purpose, because he's telling me I'm giving you these things, but he's saying there's a price that there's work that you have to do for me. Right. I give you this stuff. Right. So, and that's what I've been trying to work on, more lately too.
I've told Alan that's almost that same thing since we met, that since I turned it all over to the Lord and just put it at the cross, it's almost like the world just hands me money.
Yeah, that's what I've always noticed. The less you care about it, the less you want it, the more that all of a sudden you get more abundance. It's very strange. Exactly. I don't know why that is. It's just,
you know what?
Sort of a law.
Try this, Webb, if you hadn't already done it. This is what gave me the heart for it. Was the first time I tipped a waitress $100.
Oh yeah, totally.
Wow, that felt amazing.
Yeah, because that's like a form of tithing right there. I mean, really. Right. And also my second part of what I wanted to say about your question, Alan, is as far as the corrupt system and taxes go, I absolutely recommend and encourage everyone to pay not one more penny than you are required to pay. Try to take every loophole you possibly can on your taxes. And if and I'll be perfectly honest with you, if you cheat on your taxes, I could care less. I think it's a good thing. I believe that all the tax money, including state, federal, and everything that we do pay, has been used for more than 50% evil against us.
Oh, right. That's generous, Webb.
Right. I mean, yes, there are roads and there is infrastructure that works and things like that, and I am appreciative of those things. But the way that it's been used against us so much, I mean, it's just it just makes me really upset, and so I do encourage everyone to pay as little into the system as you can possibly do.
Amen. Right. And give away all you can. Use what you can. And I've told my wife this for years. Man, I don't mind at all. Tipping high. I'm trying to get rid of it. I'm giving it away.
The more you give away like that, Tommy, it's kind of like where I was talking about. All of a sudden, you'll get it back more. You'll get more back. Like you'll give away $100 to the waitress. All of a sudden, next day, $200 are dropping your lap.
I still think, though, the main goal has to be towards people working to say, okay, I've done this and that. I have what used to be a summer house is now not. You don't need a go bag. You need a safe place to move to, and then move there and quit paying any taxes and be away from the government and quit relying on them and quit thinking that I'm paying my taxes because I have to. And because if I don't, I won't be able to retire when I get to be 62. I made it to 62. I got a small retirement. You guys aren't going to make it.
The whole retirement thing has been such a
It's not going to happen. You have to get out of this system, this money system, grow your own food, away from the people that are going to try to say, you can't be on this free land, because they don't own it. It's all their doctrine of discovery. We can't forget that they don't own this land. They took it illegally. They're running it by maritime law. And it's going to be up to us eventually. Are you a part of the world, or are you leaving the world?
Yeah, I unfortunately I do think that it will have to get a lot worse before everyone is wanting to do that, because right now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I'm still pretty comfortable, even though I hate the whole mask thing, whatever else is going on, but it's like I'm still not in a spot where I'm like hurting very bad in my opinion, and so it's not. I hate to say it, too, but at the same time, there's other reasons why I can't just uproot myself where I'm at right now. But if I didn't have those restrictions, I'd be all about going to a new place, renouncing my citizenship, taking whatever money they could give me out of Social Security payout or what one-time lump sum if you can get that. I don't even know if that's possible or not, but whatever you could get and just take it and leave and just be part of a new flat Earth nation or something somewhere, you know what I mean? Campus somewhere. Like if I was a young person right now and didn't have those things to tie me down, then I might consider something like that for sure.
Right. Well, but I agree with you. I feel like something's coming in the future that we're gonna be drawn somewhere. We're gonna be.
It is gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. I don't know when. It could be 10 years.
Everybody's going to have their own chance where they're going to say, do I let go of the plow or do I hang on? That's coming for each one in their own thing. There's a reason we're being desensitized by all of these violent movies to where even if you're just going to watch let's say what would be considered a pretty good historical movie to watch, like The Last Samurai, that'd be a movie I'd recommend. You should check it out. But they cut people's heads off in that movie. And so we're desensitized. That's what's coming. We're going to see crap you're not going to believe because, no, they're not ready to leave the city. But some of them, when they've heard it and go like, run for my life, yeah, I think my life is worth running. And they will, and they'll remember. And that's what it's going to be.
At some point, there's going to be a mass separation event of some sort, probably.
Exactly. And what it's coming down to is that people eventually are, not only are people going to wake up and realize that all the rocks are body parts, but they're going to realize, guess what? We really are run by the mob and there are no real governments in charge. They were all infiltrated and taken over by the commission. World War II couldn't have been fought by the United States without the assistance of Lucky Luciano, who got taken out of prison and sent back to Sicily because he was going to help our war effort. It's all a lie. It's all a joke. It's going away. It's going to get worse. And it's a narrow road. Embrace it. Jesus didn't come to bring peace, but division. Embrace that division and be a part of it and realize you're going to be running for your life and then you're going to get raptured, rescued, blessed. But until then, you better be ready to, by the sweat of your brow, work for another 25 years because you're not getting raptured tomorrow or the day after.
Hey, is video gaming on YouTube for a living sweat of my brow? Can I do that? No?
If you are spreading the word of Jesus and FenGap, then maybe.
Maybe
You could get it, 10, you got 1,000 youth watching you at once, and you're like all of a sudden you're pumping them with Golden Age Past and all sorts of stuff. Flat Earth.
Yeah.
Their parents are looking
for this edition of Ghost Recon, when I just won the champion, I want to dedicate it to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Oh, thank you, Evander Holyfield of Ghost Recon.
Right. But that's a good point. Yeah. Can you just see one of them in that gaming deal go, the easiest way to win these is you just got to understand, man, it's a flat earth. And if you understand that, man, you can kill at will, man. That's the trick, man. It's a flat freaking earth. But the games and all that, what is those brains of those people in an alpha state for hours and hours.
We're in a game. Yeah, the whole society is set up like a game right now. Everything is like a game. And more the whole like people's realities is revolving around playing games all day.
Amen, right? It's all a game in one form or fashion, whether it's politics, education, religion. They're playing games with us. And
how can they get women to wear leg warmers one year, headbands the next, fanny packs another one, big hair, short hair, curly hair? Men in the 1980s, even Mike Ditka was getting a perm and curling his hair, man.
Yeah, the group think.
We do fad. We're
it's very effective.
Organizable.
And very effective on them.
Right. And there's the old experiment out there where they take the group of people everybody knows but one person, and they start showing them pictures and links of lines on paper, and everybody agrees for a while, and then all of a sudden one person starts giving the right answer when the other subjects are giving the wrong, and that one person sides with them. All they need is one more person, and they won't go with the crowd.
Right.
Yeah, it's just too uncomfortable to go against the crowd.
That's
so
right.
if you got somebody else, you got an ally, they'll do it. They'll say, no, that's wrong.
And even I who know that, I fight those feelings every day of like, gosh, one more time of going against the crowd. It never gets easier, even, with practice.
I agree. It doesn't actually get easier. It's still that you can still get that same feeling every single time you have to do it.
Right. And that's why when I first started doing this and we had a few negative comments, Alan's like, you can't let it get to you. And I said, it's not really, it didn't get to me. It's just surprising.
Yeah.
What did I
say? I've gotten thicker skin for sure. I mean, on the internet, of all my decades of being on the internet, chatting with people and reading comments back to me, like I have very thick skin. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of things, a lot of comments.
In my everyday walk, I've always had very thick skin. I work with the biggest egos there are out there, doctors, right?
It's easier to have it behind a keyboard than it is in real life,
Oh, sure. But the first time in front of a camera, I was just saying what I thought and, how I felt. And a few people didn't agree. And I was just like, okay, I just what was wrong with it?
Yeah.
They're always going to do something. I remember it was right off the bat with the peace sign.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was another one. Hey, everybody, I always done it my whole life. And he's amazing.
Yeah. So we were talking about the swastika earlier today, Tommy, and I forgot to mention, there is no swastika without its equal and opposite reaction, the swastika.
Right.
There is no swastika without a swastika, because the swastika is the good blood, and the other vortex swastika is one going back into the lung to purify it again. And, it's a part of history. And when I showed Copenhagen earlier, it's a part of Carlsberg beer used to put a swastika on it. We could talk, and it's all going to be Atlantis or the Bible and stuff, and it's that white racism in between the war, man. Henry Ford, the synagogue of Satan. We've got to get the Bible straightened out. Once again, thank God, Tommy, we picked up here almost 2 more hours of what I think is good information. Web has helped these people in the chat room. It's just like doing it on Flat Earth Nation, and that's what we need, is more and more channels where people can just come on and be like, we're right. We're not dumb because we believe in flat Earth. There's just no way, there's nobody can convince me I'm stupid.
Right. And that's another thing. I feel insulted about that technology that was taken from us, because I know a lot of really, really smart people, man. We could have sure, wow. It's hard to even imagine.
I get really happy when I see like new documentaries like the one that was made, because to me, that's like the Super Bowl or something, because I get really excited when I see a video like that, because to me, it's like, oh my God, there's other people out there that know the truth. and it just like makes me feel better that there's more people out there, than we think sometimes. Like really, this knowledge has grown to a point now where there's hundreds of thousands of people that are flat earthers, at least probably millions.
You're a poker player, Webb?
I've played some poker, yeah. I'm not. I wouldn't
See how the Texas Hold'em craze. You were obviously caught up in that. Everybody was. Some people stayed with it because they were good. Other people were fascinated with the math and everything. But that's a real thing, and so is flat Earth. They gave flat Earth. That was a psyop that was released. I mean, just to see who would confess it. People like you, people like me, people like Tommy, people like Randy,
right?
Because they needed to know who's man enough to say, they can, it doesn't. I can't be shamed into thinking I'm stupid. I took 1 year of math in high school. 5 years later, I took a test, and they said in the Army, they go like, "Hey, trig, you should be a surveyor." And I said, "Okay," and it was easy. And I didn't study all that stuff because I'm not stupid. I don't care what they say.
Well, they want, and they're doing their darndest to dumb this whole world down. I don't even believe the numbers coming. Remember, guys, the old graph from the 70s, we were #1 in the world on everything. And then in the 80s, we dropped down to #2 or 3. China had taken over. And then now where are we? In the 20s, 30s, as far as education? I don't believe those people are any better educated than us.
Well, right. What does educated even mean? Is it really even a good thing to be so-called educated?
Exactly.
There's one country in this depopulation mode that is getting hit hard, and it's the United States. There's one country that it's legal to sell food that's genetically modified. That's the United States. There's one country where it's legal to put fluoride in your water. That's the United States. We are being punished because this is God's judgment on the United States for the Monroe Doctrine, Manifest Destiny, and 506 genocides.
We're under judgment.
We are the bad guys of the world, in my humble opinion.
Oh, he's holding his hand back. Oh, he's really holding his hand back on this. I mean, we should be totally destroyed right now.
We're going to be
completely wiped off the map.
We will
Every
be.
country, practically. But us, think about all the sins this nation's committed, and think about what the nations of the Bible that got wiped out, what they did. They did really bad, probably worse things, maybe even. But we've done enough.
There's no fixing this. This is God, and he's mad, and he has every right to be.
I think he's holding his hand back on the United States because he knows there's people like us that need to be saved, and so he's giving us time. Yeah. He's just giving us more time.
Plus, it says that he never punishes as much as we deserve.
Right.
Right. Hey, have any of you, is anybody out there ever, and this is, some of you may be able to say yes, but I've never felt comfortable in a big city. Going downtown, going places, doing things. I just do not like them. I don't care for it. The vibration is bad.
Yeah, I haven't liked big cities for a long time, many years. I've always disliked them, and I've always told other people that I don't like them that much.
Yeah, and I feel bad for the people who are actually trapped there. They can't afford, or for whatever reasons can't leave. And I feel terrible for them. I wish they could get out, heck, just out into a suburb, something.
There was this one time in a city, we were walking in Chicago down by the river there in the old part of town. And I feel like you, Tommy, just always nervous. But then they bought me this one anapasta salad. And so for 15 minutes, I was happy in the city one time. It was really good.
I've had great times in cities. I've had wonderful times in large cities.
Plus, I used to go to the baseball games to see the White Sox play, and then the Bears and stuff. But I wish I would have paid more attention to Soldier Field, because that obviously is old school.
Yeah, the times I had really good times in the cities of like New York and things like that, downtown Manhattan and whatnot, was back in before 2001, actually. before 9/11. Everything was just so different before that.
Before the vibration.
Everything went downhill really fast, started going downhill really, in terms of just, feeling good, like feeling like everything was good, like good times were ahead and all that kind of, feeling all that BS that they were pumping us full of.
What's the most serendipitous moment you've ever had in a big city? I'll tell you mine first. I was in New York City. I've only been there twice. And one time I bumped into somebody that I knew from my county back at home.
Wow. I've had moments like that with people before too.
Isn't that crazy?
Weird stuff, yeah.
That's true.
I've never had a serendipitous moment in a large city. Ever.
I couldn't believe it. I wish I could remember who it was.
No, I've always been so uncomfortable with them, and people that I know that lived in them, they can't ever justify what it is or how it is. They just go, "Oh, I just love living in the city."
The answer is always
love it.
It's always
love it,
which is not worth it,
Right. So I'm paying twice as much for everything everywhere you go.
I can get a gyro on this corner. I can get a falafel on that corner. That deli over there is so good. This Danish, it's $20 for a Danish. They're sitting at home watching The Simpsons, wishing they were back in the suburbs.
Yeah. Hey, Daniel Bridgewater had a good question. Where is the Camp of the Saints located, and how do you become a member?
First,
I assigned Noah Church to find that out and give us an answer over a year ago, and he's still working on it.
Oh, okay, he's got the assignment. Well, I'll get on.
I don't know where it is, man.
Well, exactly. And here's where I'm going to go with this. First of all, the saints, in my opinion, the first question I have is, who are the saints? Is it really just us, or are the saints? I mean, we know from the Bible that the saints already include people that were resurrected in their glorified bodies.
No, it's the saints.
Referred to as
we are the saints. The saints greet you. That's the saints that will be encompassed about.
So either there already is a Camp of the Saints somewhere that we don't know about, or it needs to be created still.
Well, yeah. Well, there is always that we're the remnant right now. I don't know if we are. Beartopia could be the camp, a camp of the saints. Tommy's little compound here, where he's in one garage, I'm in the attic of the other garage. I mean, we're a small camp of the saints, but there needs to be an organized church of today, Flat Earth Nation Church.
Yeah. Well, how about this? How about I was going to read a Bible study for you guys. I don't know if you have enough time left or not, because it would take me about 5 minutes or so to read it.
No, go for it.
But it relates to what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, shoot, hit it.
Well, what we got. All right, let me get shared here.
I'm excited.
Let's see. Here we go.
Oh, you become a member by being a saint. We just don't know where it is, Daniel.
Yeah.
Bridgewater's kind of a cool name, isn't it?
Right.
It's like an adjective or something.
Okay, you guys are looking. Okay, great. Well, we got Ezekiel 37, which is very interesting. And then there's 38, which is Gog and Magog. So I'm going to read that for you guys, since we don't have probably a lot of time. So what I want you to think about while I'm reading this is, think about if Ezekiel is being given this prophecy and it refers to us in these days. Okay. That's what I want you guys to think about while I'm reading this. And let's try to see if we can glean something off of this chapter. Okay, so it's the prophecy of Gog, Ezekiel 38. The word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, set your face toward Gog of the land of Magog, the chief of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him and say, thus says the Lord God, behold, I am against you, O Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn you about and put hooks into your jaws, And I will bring you out, and all your army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed in full armor, a great host, all of them with buckler and shield, wielding swords. Persia, Cush, and Put are with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his hordes, Beth to Gomar, from the uttermost parts of the north, with all his hordes, many people are with you. Be ready and keep ready, you and all your hosts that are assembled about you, and be a guard for them. After many days you will be mustered. In the latter years, you will go against the land that is restored from war, the land whose people were gathered from many peoples upon the mountains of Israel, which had been a continual waste. Its people were brought out from the peoples and now dwell securely, all of them. You will advance, coming on like a storm. You will be like a cloud covering the land, you and all your hordes and many peoples with you. Thus says the Lord God, on that day, thoughts will come into your mind. You will devise an evil scheme and say, I will go up against the land of unwalled villages. I will fall upon the quiet people who dwell securely, all of them dwelling without walls and having no bars or gates, to seize spoil and carry off plunder, to turn your hand against the waste places that are now inhabited and the people who were gathered from the nations, who have acquired livestock and goods, who dwell at the center of the earth.
Dang, right, man. That has to be, that's about us, because
that's an interesting line right there. Who dwell at the center of the earth.
there was that other one that says, didn't it say something as in the days of lore? Or...
It continues though, so I'm going to continue on, Alan.
That's just powerful.
Because
very
this
powerful
things.
things.
I'm starting to think that this whole chapter is talking to us.
Is this this is also in the context of like the stones once just were being brought back to life, right? In the previous chapters, isn't that when the stones come back to life? The sinews and stuff?
Right. That's the chapter previous to this one, right? Exactly. I was going to read it. I just didn't know if we had enough time. So it kind of ties in with this one a little bit. So here, I'll continue here with verse 13 though. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish and all its leaders, you will say to you, have you come to seize spoil? Have you assembled your hosts to carry off plunder, to carry away silver and gold, to take away livestock and goods, to seize great spoil? Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say to Gog, thus says the Lord God, on that day when my people Israel are dwelling securely, will you not know it? You will come from your place out of the uttermost parts of the north, you and many peoples with you, all of them riding on horses, a great host, a mighty army. You will come up against my people Israel like a cloud covering the land. In the latter days I will bring you against my land, that the nations may know me, when through you, O Gog, I vindicate my holiness before their eyes. Thus says the Lord God, are you he of whom I spoke in former days by my servants and the prophets of Israel, who in those days prophesied for years that I would bring you against them? But on that day, the day that Gog shall come against the land of Israel, declares the Lord God, my wrath will be roused in my anger. For in my jealousy and in my blazing wrath I declare, on that day there shall be a great earthquake in the land of Israel. The fish of the sea and the birds of the heavens and the beasts of the field and all creeping things that creep on the ground and all the people who are on the face of the earth shall quake at my presence. And the mountains shall be thrown down and the cliffs shall fall and every wall shall tumble to the ground. I will summon a sword against Gog on all my mountains, declares the Lord God. Every man's sword will be against his brother. With pestilence and bloodshed, I will enter into judgment with him, and I will rain upon him and his hordes and the many peoples who are with him torrential rains and hailstones, fire and sulfur. So I will show my greatness and my holiness and make myself known in the eyes of many nations. Then they will know that I am the Lord.
I don't want to see the pestilence.
I mean, that is intense.
I don't want the pestilence part.
That is really intense.
Yeah, there's too much of that, of where, you know, it's Gog. It's coming against. I mean, gosh,
the land of Israel. He says,
be one of the people that could go, peace, peace. It's all going to be great.
Well, here's the thing about where it says come against the land of Israel. Now, obviously, we know that what we call Israel today is not the real Israel, right? So what this means to me is we are the spiritual Israel that's grafted into the tree of, you know, Jacob, I guess is what, I can't remember if it's called that, but
the seed of Abraham.
And so our land, aka the camp of the saints and the beloved city, would be the land of Israel. And so Gog shall come against, you know, that land.
We are Israel.
Right.
Because Israel. Exactly. To share was going to be another look at what the King James Version and how freely they switch when they want to between the words Gentiles and nations. Maybe you could just look that up, Webb, since you're sharing the screen.
Well, maybe it's better if you do that. You're probably more skilled at that on the other site. I don't do as much of the comparison stuff as you do on these sites. I was just reading from the ESV just now. I've just kind of picked ESV. I don't know what version to read right now online, but I just go with that for now. But
yeah, that's a good one.
It's good enough, you know. I mean, I actually think that many versions are fine.
Used to be an elder at Lakeview Church where I was at, and he consulted on the Hebrew and the English Standard Version in the 80s. Yeah. He's the one who taught my children about how bad that Black Pete is, because he's total Norwegian guy, and he was talking about, you know, Santa and Black Pete, the evil dwarf, and because we were big into Christmas at Lakeview, man.
Hey, Alan, so this particular verse right here, verse 10, is to me really interesting. Kind of like it gives me ideas of what it might be talking about, where he says, you know, Gog is going to devise an evil scheme, and he will say, I will go up against the land of unwalled villages.
Right.
So to me, this speaks of like Western societies such as Europe, the United States, where we don't really live in walled villages with bars on windows. And because I've seen in other countries where they do live that way. We don't live in those ways. So I'm thinking maybe there's peoples that come against these places that live in the unwalled places, the unwalled villages. The safe place is essentially kind of like safe places compared to like a third world country where they have walls with, you know, glass shards glued to the top of their walls everywhere. And every house has a wall and security system around it with bars on the windows and everything else.
Hey man, you better get ready for that kind of stuff.
And he says, you know,
I don't know what it's going to. It's not going to be as bad for us, but it's still going to be bad.
Well, and remember how we were talking, Alan, about how we don't really know what the terms north, east, south, and west truly mean.
Right. I was thinking of that too.
We don't really know, because we've been told what northeast, south, and west is by the controllers. But when we look at the Bible and it refers to northeast, south, and west, do we really know what it's talking about? Because in this verse, he says, you will come from your place out of the uttermost parts of the north, you and many peoples with you, all of them riding on horses, a great host, a mighty army. Well,
here's
Odyssey means the north, you know.
Tommy, can I share one more time?
Yeah, let's welcome Allie. Hey, babe.
Hey,
Hey, hello. Hope you're all well.
Hi
so
there.
far so good. Glad to be a part of the worldwide ministry here.
It's great to see you
So
all. And
here's what it's going to be like. Here's what it was like for them, Webb, and here's what it's going to be like for us when they come for them in the cities. In Joel chapter 2, let the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord is coming. It is near, a day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and thick darkness. Like blackness, there is spread upon the mountains a great and powerful people. Their like has never been seen before, nor will be again after them, through the years of all generations. A fire devours before them, and behind them a flame burns. The land is like the Garden of Eden before them, but behind them a desolate wilderness, and nothing escapes them. Their appearance is like the appearance of horses, and like war horses they run, as with the rumbling of chariots. They leap on the top of mountains, like the crackling of a flame devouring the stubble, like a powerful army drawn for battle. Before them people are in anguish, all faces grow pale and will again. Like warriors they will charge us, like soldiers they scale the wall. They march each on his way. They will not swerve from their path. They don't jostle one another. Each marches his own path. They burst through the weapons. They're not halted. They're going to leap upon the city. They run upon the walls. They climb up into the houses, enter through the windows like a thief. The earth is going to quake before them. It's going to be a massacre. And if anybody wants to go through that again, you know, it's right there for you. It's right there for you. But
Yeah,
there's got to be another option.
right. And both of those scenarios, I hope it is God doing the sword wielding, because if it is literally the way it reads, we're all gonna have to fight.
Here's where it says, to you now I am speaking to the Gentiles. Okay, well,
the way I see it is that the people of Israel, which is us and everyone like us, that is going to gather into a camp of the saints and build a holy city around, that the camps around. Gog and Magog is going to come against the camp eventually and surround it. But there is no work to be done. There is no fighting for us to be done. God is going to wipe them out. I was about to cuss, but God is going to wipe them out with fire.
This is a rescue, not a restoration.
He's going to do the fighting.
Is how come when the word is sometimes, it's always, your ethnicity. That's the root of this word. It's ethnic. 163 times. The idea is that from every ethnic group, God has spiritual Israel. And they can, in the King James, call it Gentiles, Gentiles, Gentiles. But why do they switch to nation sometimes?
It is interesting why they go from kingdom to nation to different terms. Because I don't know what the difference is between a kingdom or a nation. Maybe the fact that there's like this democratic secular system, maybe that means it's a nation versus a kingdom, which would obviously have a king and not be a democracy, right? It would have a king and it would, and then they would typically have one theology that they
or it is to use it so that by twisting the scriptures, you can make Israel, modern Israel, a nation without being able to trace their lineage back to Aaron, which is mandatory in the Bible. And so we have our society kowtowing to a nation calling itself Israel. Right. I don't want to get anybody else's channel in trouble like mine. So that's enough,
Yeah. I know. You can just sit there and say, hey, my lineage is this and that, and you don't have to have any proof, and you can just set up a nation and treat the people that live there very, very harshly, as you genocide them to make room for yourself. And
it is what we did in America.
Part of the controller system, you're good to go.
We came to America, and basically like that Terminator, that when he tells that guy, the cop on the motorcycle, hey, that's a nice motorcycle. Well, he wants that motorcycle. He's going to take it. That's his motorcycle now, man. Can we call them
Khazarians and Ashkenazis? Because we know that a lot of them do trace themselves and call themselves Ashkenazi, as well as Khazarian is another one. So we can say those terms, I suppose, on YouTube, right? Or have those been bannable yet?
Well, we better make sure that we're not using up all of Tommy's time. 2 hours long for him.
Let's get a word from Ellie. She's here now. Let's. What do you think on all this, Elle? Are you there? There you are.
Yeah. I think it's really. I think it's part of the division to divide us. Where you said something that I've been looking into the last few days. Knowing which direction is which. In the 1779, it was originally employed, but this man called John Harrison made a chronometer. And there's chronometers. A reward was offered in 1714 by the British government to determine a ship's longitude within 30 geographical miles, about 34.6 miles at the end of a 6 weeks voyage. So he was a carpenter that made this device, this timekeeping device. So all of our time is built off of this now. How did he know that was the time?
Right. But how did they? I mean, where did they come up with the micrometer? When did they get the first screw? When did they go from, like in the 1940s, there were still people that pedaled a wheel and spun yarn. And instead, in other places, we've got massive factories running 1,000 looms off of steam power. There was a diversity of knowledge that came about. It had to be from a reset. And as different people shared and came out,
right,
we're just at the beginning of discovering, Tommy, what, the extent of the lie.
Right. When you see all the stuff we've all already seen and got us where we are today. It's just the narrative is just so infuriating and so frustrating that why not do it right? Why not use all that continue to use that technology? That keeps coming to my head. And there's only one answer in the end. It's the devil loose, because there's no other reason competent people in our past, if they'd known about this, would not have perpetuated it and it be the norm forever. And go ahead, Elle.
I think it's mainly the elite that have done that to keep the rest of humanity at bay, because they know there's only a certain amount of them. I think like worldwide, they say that the total percentage would only be about 2 million or 3 million of that bloodline. And when you put it against a population that's as it is at the moment, I don't believe the world is at 7 or 8 billion. I really don't. I think it's less than that. But they don't want people to have this technology, because you see what happens when one person gets a little bit of technology. They see it and then they invent something on it, and it just grows and grows and grows from there. And they wouldn't be able to control us. The technology we have now is not new.
That's my whole point, is that they refuse to let the best rise to the top, even in our generation. Like Alan has suggested many times, the carburetor that runs on gas, and you get
the patent system was created to stifle innovation, not to support it. It was there so that you could take a good technology, patent it, and then cover it all up, hide it, put it on in the black box that nobody can see it.
Right. Exactly. And so the devil, it has to be the devil loose. There's no other explanation. When you have frequency and stuff out there that we know can heal, when you have natural herbs out there that we know heal, not just treat, they heal. And they take them.
Well,
All
sorry to interrupt, Tommy. I mean, I tell people go on about pot marijuana and that and say, oh, it's bad for you, this and that. And it's like, oh, do we have to go through this again? You know, like it was only banned in 1904 because Rudolph Diesel created the diesel engine designed to run on hemp oil. And, you know, the fella had all this oil that he bought land for, you know, wanted to sell this oil and thought, well, we can, you know, make an invention for this. So that's why pot was outlawed, as well as for the hemp, for the rope, because they wanted to go into the synthetic with the oil, you know, the polyester and nylon stuff from the oil, the plastics. That's why it was really bad, you know.
Right.
No group of people in their right mind would ever vote to say we need to switch our cars from steam, electric, gasoline, moonshine. Cars used to run on anything. No, from now on, they will only run on petroleum. What group of people could be talked into that? No, it had to be a reset to always to just say, oh, this is better for you. This is better.
Right. Yeah. And anybody over our lifetimes, and I'm going to say it forever, just what I've observed, this stuff has come out. We know that. We've known for a long time. We knew for a long time fuel injection was way more efficient than carburation. But how long did it take for them to get fuel injection in every car now? Forever.
When fuel injection,
it's little stuff like that. Come on.
Like when all these, sorry to interrupt, when all these technologies come out, they seem to come out as an extra on a car where you have to pay extra for it. You know, I mean, like when airbags come out, you had to pay extra for them, and then they're now government mandated that they had to be mandated. Same with the ABS. The ABS, you know, it came out as a extra, you know, and then the government said, no, you've got to make it mandatory. It's just all these technologies that like Webb said, they don't want people getting the patents and a hold of it. And someone asked a good question the other day. These VCs, the Jabiru, is patented, right? You have that. Does that mean you become part of their property?
Yeah, when they've got your birth certificate.
Do you know what I mean? Like, when that DNA altering technology is in your body, do you become owned by them?
Yeah, that's the way they're going to see it. That's the way their legal system has been set up. That's why back in the 80s, they redefined corporations as a person so that they could encompass everything. Yeah,
because we are dead fiction. And you know, it's really frustrating. I know people are trying to help out when they go, oh, you're a dead entity and a dead this and that. And you know, yes, I understand what syntexogrammer is, and yes, I know what it's about. And I mean, it's like, you really think you're going to be able to do that? Do you really think you're going to get away with this? There's no way in God's earth will devil let someone do that. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
You know,
they seem to be getting away with it. I don't think they're afraid that they're not getting away with it. I mean, my goodness. I mean, what I mean, I saw a thing the other day that showed a picture of Jennifer Lopez, and they made her look beautiful. And they said, if her husband cheats on her, why even bother?
Yeah, what chance do you have?
That's what the world is. It's kind of like, well, she's so perfect. Why, you know, how could you not love her?
Yeah.
It's the mindset is wrong. Everything about what we do is wrong. Didn't I just hear that now they want to start teaching masturbation in kindergarten?
Yes, that's true.
You know,
it's disgusting. I can't believe it. I can't even hear that, you know, just.
Yep.
It's
these
amazing.
people that are doing this to the children, it's really sick. And these children,
I seriously want to do really bad things to people that hurt kids. I really have like a rage inside of me about that.
Right. It's if you're not enraged by people who hurt children, there's something wrong with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
To me, it's just like children are just such a special thing. Like it's just there is nothing more innocent in in the world like than a child and the mind of a child. So beautiful, such a, you know what I mean? And they have God. You can like practically see God right through them, because it's just like they have that spirit that's in them still. They haven't been.
We send them to school today. We're going to have to give them an Apple computer. We're going to have, if not a computer, there's going to say, "Here's your phone." We've got one last chance to not millstone children. How are we going to? What can we do? Is the big question. What can we do? We're small. We have no power.
We do have power. Actually, people think that we're small, we don't have power, we can't do anything. That's just the biggest lie that we have been told.
Sure.
We can make a difference. Each and every single one of us, we can make a difference. And it starts with us. It's like that song, The Man in the Mirror. It starts with us. We've got to make that change.
Right.
That is true, Ella. And they have used fear over us to a certain extent where we are self-censoring ourselves and things like that. They've used things like the fear of nuclear weapons to completely pacify generations. And they're doing that same kind of thing with all these other topics as well. And so it is giving us more fear than we probably have justified, as far as what can physically happen to us.
The biggest fear that they've put into us in our generations is the fear of losing their source of income, losing your job.
Yeah. Retirement, that whole retirement carrot stick that's been put in front of people, and the fear of not having money when I retire, and I'm going to be one of those poor old people that's crammed into a home.
And the problem is the only way to change all this is those people at the ground level, all those people who work for Coca-Cola. If just 3 of their distribution centers, 5 of those truck drivers each day go, "I ain't doing it. I'm not delivering your poison today." Do you know how that would hurt them? Just like that. I mean, it wouldn't take that much, but it is literally the people at the ground level that work for these companies. Unless you work for a private owned business, small business in your hometown, you work for a conglomerate, a company, a corporation. And it takes those people to just not show up one day and go, "We're not doing this anymore. You people, you're the problem, not the solution."
But that's the labor and management problem, where then they bring in the strike busters.
The unions, yeah.
But it's got to be those people too. You can't be busters, walk up and go, "I'll take the job."
Yeah.
It can't be.
Yeah.
No one in the house.
Yeah.
And that literally is where it's got to start, is each individual at wherever they are in life. And if they're working for GE or whatever, they got to just say, "I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't continue to support this system."
I worked at Coke.
Take that early buyout. Get that early retirement.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ellie. I couldn't hear you.
I worked at Coca-Cola several times, and I ended up not going back after the 3rd time after what I saw went in it. And they made me sign a non-disclosure agreement that I couldn't talk for 5 years after leaving the place. So I'm still on that little non-disclosure, but it's coming close. But Alan, I think a lot of these problems comes to is people don't know the Bible, the scriptures, and they don't know that these the 7 deadly sins seem to be trapping us every day. I don't think people are aware of what the 7 sins do and how they can lead us down to this path.
That's a good
We've
topic.
accepted that Snowden and WikiLeaks and everything is just like, well, they spy on us. Well, now they know, and they were going to kill that Snowden, but they didn't. So, doggone it, they don't just spy on us; they even spy on our allies and the presidents of our friendly countries. Ask Angela Merkel. So, we're living in a world that's insane.
Yeah,
it really is. They found hardware backdoors in all the Cisco routers. The NSA had backdoors into not just software level backdoors, hardware level backdoors.
Same as Microsoft. Yeah, they did the same.
In Microsoft,
I don't even want. You're right. I don't want to know, Webb.
So yeah, their domination of your privacy is complete. You have no.
So, on that note, in war games, when they go to the computer nerds And the little mouthy guy says, yeah, backdoor. Everybody puts them in. It's a big deal in the computer thing. He's all, shut up, you idiot. And he's all, what? I'm talking about backdoors. Everybody knows. He goes, everybody doesn't know. Okay?
Right. Nobody knows. Almost nobody.
Right.
Security
Like,
experts know, and they're the only
Man,
ones.
if I could put in a backdoor, I'd do it.
You know, he explained it under the guise of
and Intel and AMD both have chips on their processors that are called Intel calls it their management system chip or something. It's completely encrypted with 2000-bit encryption, and it can do hardware level things on your computer. It has root access to anything and everything on your computer beneath your operating system. And so if you have an Intel chip with a management system, you don't have any guarantees that there isn't a backdoor in there, because it's an encrypted firmware that you can't look at.
Right. You can't
Sounds like Noah's had a supernatural event.
Noah what?
Sounds like Noah's has a supernatural event.
Oh,
He's
nice.
Signs and wonders, and we should see. Noah, there's a link in there if you can go back and find it. What happened? He's got the crowd. And by the way, somebody asked earlier, you were supposed to figure out where is the camp of the saints right now. It's been a year, Noah. I know you're working on it.
Noah, we're counting on you. Give us an update. Noah, give us an update.
Yeah.
Where is the camp of the saints? We're trying to figure this one out.
He's trying to come in, he said, Tommy.
There, I sent him a link. I put a new one up in the chat there, Noah.
Maybe we could just declare Australia, kick all the non-believers out, make that the camp of the saints.
Take Australia.
Take Australia. Let's go.
We'll just take Australia. Y'all can have everything else.
Noah, you're good to go. You don't have to go anywhere.
We'll be good right here.
It's actually a big country. People don't believe how big it is, but it is actually a big country. They think it's small. But when it takes you 3 days to drive from one side of the country to the other, you realize it's a big country.
That's Texas.
Yeah, lots of resources.
That's Texas. You can do that in just Texas, baby.
Yeah.
Alan found out he was in the middle of the state, and just to drive down to through another third's 8 hours.
We drove down to the corner where we're like 10 miles from the Gulf of Mexico and about 10 miles from Louisiana.
Yeah.
As soon as the Lord willing, I'm going to try to scoot down there to New Orleans.
Yeah, we got to do a road trip down to Noah. We have to go hook him up. I hope he's trying to find a good signal. He says I'm going to try to come on.
Can I just
But yeah, guys, we got to spread those kind of videos like the one, that Dave Wass they just put out. That is so good for newbies, man, for people who are just, they'll listen, but they don't understand anything yet. That's perfect for them. It starts them out and it goes through everything. Yeah. And it's helpful. I think it's a real helpful tool. I shared it on my Facebook. It is a 5-hour video, but I also shared the 1.5 hour one he's got too, and it's real good. So we just
get ready to study. I want to get into studying more philosophy of why I like Dr. Francis Schaeffer, of how we have to use logic, teach our kids not just teach them the logic, of what's going on.
A lot of Christians don't look into that because of past preachers saying no, you don't look into that, and I think you need to look into all avenues in it, Alan. That is a fantastic idea. Have you guys heard about Amazon Ring and the creation, how they're going to share the data? I think it was 4th of June. You have to opt out, and if you don't opt out,
I saw that too.
Yeah, I mean, we have no privacy, and if you think we have, you're deluded.
Right.
But Alan, we need to get this message out to people. People are screaming out, wanting to know, and they don't know where to start. And when people start with, they go off in Genesis and that and this and that, they don't want to hear about it. They know about that. They need to know about the times we're in now. But how do you tell them?
You just tell them that the golden age is past, and it's just intuitive. They'll understand. They'll just
If they
look.
want the truth.
We all have the information. We can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people are open to, a Christian message. And so if you come from the angle of, Jesus Christ is Lord and the Bible is true, that might appeal to a lot of people to get them into, and then all of a sudden golden age is past. Oh, and by the way, Earth is flat. You
Right.
should know. Instead, and then there are going to be people like me who came in the other way where it was like, okay, 9/11 is an inside job. Sandy Hook is a hoax. Earth is flat. Oh, and this all points to the fact that Jesus Christ is Lord. And now, I just found out about mud flood, golden age is past, and flood fossils and everything else.
Yeah, I got here through 9/11 too, but I was 10 years late to the party. It was 9/11 2012 Benghazi that woke me up.
But I do suspect that coming in from the Bible angle and from the Jesus angle, for some people, is going to be a lot more receptive than the flat Earth angle or something like that.
Well, I get the most pushback from Christians about flat Earth.
Sure. Oh, it's the issue that will set people off. People go psychopathic on the flat Earth issue. Who knows why? I mean, they've been so programmed so deeply ever since they were a child that it really triggers some people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
Go ahead,
science. That's the problem. They've been taught to believe this, like the scientists have put the facts there and they've put the proof there, and that's it. They don't, they've been programmed through the education system created by the elite, and
some people
don't think for themselves.
Some people, you tell them you believe in flat Earth, and they will not respect you after that point. Period. No matter what you say, it doesn't matter.
And it's getting worse. It's getting worse every day. You go do a Google search right now and just type in flat Earth, and the first 2-3 pages are debunking flat Earth nuts, proven flat Earth is a hoax.
It's a real trigger issue for people, a lot of people, and so I guess coming in from that angle might not be the way to go.
Yeah, that's all they see is those things. Oh my gosh, that's all we got to give them, the things we want them to see. Don't let them just go do what we did.
Mud flood might be a better angle, because then it's like, okay, what are all these buildings doing like this, and what is this mud flood all about? Why? And this all points to golden age past these buildings, or at least a reset, right? Like they like to say.
Something.
So that's a pretty good one, because that a lot of people are going to be receptive probably to that. The different mud flood angle.
Noah's in the house. What's up, Noah?
Noah.
There, bud.
Noah. Let's all pray for some signal for Noah here.
Yeah, let's send him some good vibrations.
Bandwidth. Dear Lord, give Noah bandwidth right now. We want to talk to him.
Give him some 5G, Lord. Light him up. Light him up, man. We need him. But yeah, I think when we approach people with the subject, you got to fill it out. Everybody knows that, but it is the hardest one to get Christians to go, okay, wait.
Can I share screen and just show pictures while you guys talk?
Well, I guess if you wanna. He's back.
I'm going to show you this storm drain in England.
Noah's back.
There he is.
This is a storm drain, Tommy.
He's in a dark place.
Storm drain.
Oh, right. No, it's a subway station. It's used as a storm drain now. Are you? Let's see.
Is Noah talking, or are we going to talk to Noah, or what's going on?
Yeah, let's hear you, Noah. Are you there?
Hello. Hey, yeah, I'm here. I can hear
Noah.
you all. Hi, Ella. Oh my goodness. Oh, praise God, praise Jesus. I'm so blessed to be here. You all, I'm so happy. There's been the most amazing things going on here, and I've been thinking about you all and praying for you, and receiving visions to reach out to you all more, and so I just appreciate you all so much. I want to do justice to the things that have been happening here. I don't know if I can, but I can try.
Do it.
Tell us.
All right, so I was like, I guess I had to start back a little bit. Okay, so this whole lockdown thing was happening, right? And people are persecuting me. I've been speaking out against all of the evil, and people, saying the whole shindig that you're selfish and canceling me and spreading rumors and stuff. So, but by the strength of God, been making it through, and I decided to throw a parade on Easter, because I used to throw a parade on Easter for the goddess. There's a lot of feedback in my headphones, but I don't know what that is. But so I used to throw this. All right, so I used to throw this parade for the goddess, and when God reached into my life and flipped me and reversed me and changed everything about me, I decided to cancel that parade and do a parade feeding the homeless called the Movable Feast. And so I canceled the O-Star parade before the world was canceled, before lockdown. And I made this official, like, it's canceled poster and everything. Another kind of ironic that everything was canceled shortly after. So Easter happened during the lockdown. We did it. We fed the homeless. We got a bunch of pushback from people saying that we were being selfish and we were being racist for, putting Black people in danger. So this year I instigated this Easter parade again, called the Movable Feast, and it was still controversial because things really hadn't opened up yet. But people showed up. People came to the Easter parade, and everyone's really excited. So we did another parade, and so you all, the whole time I'm doing this, I'm praying. My prayer is that this brings glory to God, and that I'm doing the will of God, following the Holy Spirit, and being led. So we did a May 1st parade because the Easter one was so great, and everybody loved it. And this woman showed up at the parade, and nobody knew who she was. And it started at 9 a.m. Nobody knew who she was, and she was completely possessed by a demon. She was completely possessed by the Jezebel spirit. She was making children cry. She was barking at dogs. She was choking people. She was humping people's faces, and like nobody knew how to handle it or what to do. But eventually we pretended like the parade stopped, and I started praying. I was praying, Jesus, get this demon out of here, please, Jesus. And so then eventually she left. And when she left, we entered the quarter, the French Quarter, and we looked up right when we got to Jackson Square. We looked up, and there was 2 circular rainbow halos around the sun on just right up above us, just creating this big old dome over the sky. And everyone was so elated and celebrating. And someone even said to me, they're like, Noah, it's God's promise to Noah. It's God's promise to Noah. Nice. And I said, you're right. And so that was this huge success. And so I'm going to try to make this as fast as possible. It's pretty cool, you all. It's pretty cool. So please hang in there. So this lady was at the parade, and she owns this. She fell in love with everything we were doing, and she met this girl at the parade, and they were so enamored by the fact that this double rainbow halo phenomenon happened. They decided to throw a festival on this lady's land in Abita Springs called Double Rainbow Gathering, because they were inspired by this double rainbow halo, and it changed their lives. So they plan on doing this gathering the last week in May. So it just happened. Now get this, you all. So all of May, as a devotional walk with God, I paraded every single day in May. Every single day I paraded for God, and it became a surrender. I carried a white flag with me, and I surrendered to God every day. And I ran into all of these people and had really amazing experiences and got to testify to people. I went on Bourbon Street, and a few times I went on Bourbon Street with a sign that said "The truth will set you free," and I was dressed like a clown. And when people asked me, what's the truth? And I say, Jesus is the truth, And it would catch them so off guard, but they were just, so many beautiful experiences happened. I can't tell you. So
Amen.
fast forward. I'm doing this parade every day in May for God, right? And then fast forward to the end of May, the gathering is taking place on this beautiful piece of property out in Abita Springs across the lake. And my friend Jack, who's been helping out and cooking food for me to feed the homeless, he was a big part in setting it up. He built a tree house for it, everything. He's like, you have to come. So, I went, and I was welcomed in as this guest of honor, because they say the reason this gathering's happening is because your parade, Noah, because your parade. And so, I'm honored by that, but they are trying to explain to these people that the inspiration is all coming from God. And so on this land, there was this festival, so they were having music, and it was bad music. It was all this dance techno music, and I couldn't stand it. So I went off into the woods and I prayed to God, and I had a beautiful, beautiful time with God, and just wisdom was just pouring out on me. But I thank God for that first rainbow, the first double halo rainbow around the sun on May 1st. And maybe whoever's talking in the background could stop. It's hard to hear. But so I was praising God for that, and I realized, it's no coincidence, right? I'm inspired by God to do this parade for the glory of God, to reach places that the church can't reach here in New Orleans. And then we see these signs and wonders in the sky, and it affects everybody so profoundly. And then, so I'm out in the woods in Abita Springs, thanking God for that, and just truly realizing that this is God building up my faith and giving me more than I could ask for, actually showing me signs and wonders. And what am I going to turn from that? Am I going to say it's just a coincidence? It's just, oh, lucky us? No, it's God. God's communicating. God is communicating with us 1,000,000%. And it's just even more than I could have hoped for. And so I'm out there thanking God in the woods. And then the next day is the last day of this festival. It's the last day of May. And they have a brass band there on the land. And we start doing a parade. And we start doing this. Also, I'm going to go back real quick. In my prayer to God, I realized, these people are searching, and these people, I know the answers. The answers are not, I don't own the answers. The answers are not mine, but God is giving me the answers. And I need to get this across to these people. I need to communicate this to people. And because they're telling me, they said, this wouldn't even have happened if you hadn't done that thing that you did. And so the next day, we wake up, there's this brass band, and we parade around the pond, and it's glorious, beautiful, sunshiny day. There's hardly any clouds. The sky's bright blue. We're going around the pond. They're playing all the hits. They're playing When the Saints Go Marching In, all those beautiful songs of New Orleans. And then we're coming back around the pond, and I have this rainbow ribbon in my hand, right? And so I say, I'm going to draw a circle around the sun with my rainbow ribbon. And I look up and I draw a circle around the sun, and I realize that there already is a circle rainbow around the sun. Huge, huge, triumphant, blasting rainbow around the sun, total circle around the sun. And so I tell everybody in the parade, I say, hey, there's a rainbow around the sun. And everyone goes, yeah, everyone starts celebrating. And then we go out into the main field, and we can see the rest of the sky. And there's another circle rainbow going around the sun. So there's 2 double halo circle rainbows going around the sun. And the name of the gathering is called Double Rainbow Gathering. And they named it that because of the parade I threw to give God glory on May 1st.
Amen. Wow. That's
Awesome story, man. I love it.
I believe it.
Can you hear me?
I've seen that kind of crazy stuff.
No.
As soon as I said that, it started cutting out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, the stuff
Yeah,
you've been
can you hear
hearing
me?
is just StreamYard. It's feedback from StreamYard. When there's more than 3 or 4 people on, it starts to go south pretty bad. So
Right.
Nobody was talking during it. We heard you though. We heard everything you said. So
Yeah,
we
well, I
heard
hope
you
you all could. I hope you. Okay, that's good. That's good. So there's no questioning it. There's no doubting it at all. And any doubt is of the enemy. Any doubt is of demons. Anything like that. This is God communicating with us. And people started pointing at me, and they were saying, "You did this. You did this. You're magic. You're magic." And I had to say, "No, no, no." I said, "God is doing this. You all understand?" Oh God. I can't tell you all. It's like pray for New Orleans. God is working. God is working, and God is working on my life and blessing this ministry. Blessing me so hard. And please, it's just the strength to get across to these people and to continue to communicate. Because these people are searching. They're searching, and God is blessing us. God is blessing us. And they don't fully understand. And
Yeah, right. That's the hard part, right now.
I've been making. Yeah, and I've been put in this wonderful, beautiful, just immaculate position in my life, and it's my continuous prayer. It's my prayer to the furthest reaches, into the dark abyss, into the edges of all that we can think, and the perimeters of the sky and the earth and the ends of the earth and beyond the sky, and to the realms of angels, to hear my prayer and to wake these people up, Lord. Let them know you continue to use me, Lord. And I'll say it. I'll scream it. I'll scream it from the
Remember, they didn't even
housetops.
know Neowise Comet was coming last year, Noah. We don't know what we're going to see this year, but it's going to be crazy, man.
So I was given wisdom to share with you all, and it's that any day, everyone's talking about when is the end going to be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. We know it's going to happen.
Right.
We know it is going to happen. And any day that we have left is a blessing from God. Any day. Praise God, every single day that we have left to reach the people that are lost. Why does it matter? We have to know exactly how it's all going to play out, or when it's going to play out, or what's going to happen next. Every day left is a blessing. Extreme blessing, because we know it will end, and we know that not everyone's going to make it. We know there will be lost people. So any day that we have to just do the work for God and to praise Him and to call people in using the joy of God, the joy of God, the joy and the glory of eternal life. Any day that we have left to spread that joy,
Amen,
is a blessing. We don't need anything else. We don't even need to know anything else.
amen, boy.
And so I pray that we do the work, and that we go out into the world, and that we go out into the open. And if you all want to help me, please help me. And I say, Tommy and Alan, come to New Orleans. Come to New Orleans, and we will testify. We will testify. And this is the other part of what I wanted to tell you. I've been taking the carriage out. Into Jackson Square, and that's the spot I'm supposed to be. We're holding a revival. There is a revival for Jesus Christ going on in New Orleans, in the very center. We're the Jackson Square, right in front of the cathedral. And we're going to be testifying. And we're going to be doing baptisms. And we're going to be healing people through the Holy Spirit, through God's grace. And so anybody and everybody, this is my prayer, to the furthest extremities of all reality, you can come and you can help, and you can make a difference in people's lives in real time.
Right. Amen. Wow.
And that's what I was called to come tell you all. And I'm so happy to say so. Thank you so much.
Well, we're glad you showed up, Noah. We've been praying for you, brother. We know it's not easy down there.
Thank you.
That's amazing, man.
But it's getting better. It's getting better. And Alan,
when is it? When is the revival?
I don't know, coming out.
Yeah.
I know. I want to go
cutting out.
No, I want to go.
Did y'all quit sending Noah those positive vibrations?
Wait. Alan.
Yeah.
Only you talk?
I'm in. I want to go there and preach.
Oh yeah, man. Let's pray for a huge revival in New Orleans. Yeah. That would be awesome.
Yeah, what are you saying?
I want to do it. How come Noah can't hear me? You can
I can't hear anything you're saying, but if you can hear me, I just wanted to tell.
I can hear you.
I don't know. It's a struggle, you all. I don't know my service. I don't know, but it's also I have so much to do in real time that I don't have the time to be on this device, and I don't think that God is going to allow me much time on this, or for it to work well. But I just I also wanted to tell you, Alan, that one of my wagon wheels broke on my way out of the quarter one day. It broke off of the car, and old school problems have old school solutions. There's only one person in the country that can fix this stuff. It's an Amish man in Indiana. So I borrowed 2 wheels. You know, Alan, because last year we had all the wheel trouble when we were on the road. And how much of a pain in the butt that was. Well, imagine doing it with a carriage in the streets of New Orleans. It's a whole other level. But I've been dealing with it, and I borrowed 2 wheels from this wagon company here, and I ordered 4 new wheels from this guy in Indiana. I'm going to go pick them up in 2 weeks. But it's a lot. Sometimes I think this is a lot for one person to do, and it would be such a joy to have some fellowship, you know, even just special guests, even if someone could come and help out for a little bit. But if not, that's fine too. Whatever God wills, whatever God is willing, you know, He knows more than me. He knows how it's all going to work out more than I do.
I'm pretty sure the Lord will be willing to let Alan, at least if not Alan by himself, the both of us come to New Orleans. I'm pretty sure the Lord's will can pull that off.
Amen.
It would be. That's what I am receiving when I'm in prayer, and just throughout the day, I just keep getting inspired, and wanted to ask you all to do that, and I felt called by God to ask you. And we'll work out the timing of it later.
Sure.
Yeah, there's still a lot of moving into Tommy's house that has to get done before we can get off of that. But
and I wouldn't want you to come until the carriage wheels need to be get fixed. And I also am called to tell people I'm going to the Rainbow Gathering. Alan and I went last year. It's a national rainbow gathering. There's people from all walks of life, backgrounds, families, gathering in the woods and camping, and they do their prayer for world peace on July 4th, but we know that peace won't come until the end. But there's a lot of people that are searching out there, and Alan and I testified and witnessed with them last year, and I'm doing it again this year. And if anyone is being called to do something for Jesus or for God, or you want real life experiences, I'm just going to suggest that is one of the places where you will be able to meet people and talk to people that are open, and it will be out of this out of the cities, out of Babylon. They even use that language there when you're at the Rainbow Gathering. They call the outside world Babylon. So they use a lot of this biblical language, but they haven't put all the pieces together.
Noah, I have my bliss cup and I'm ready. That? I have my bliss cup and I'm ready.
Yeah, you have your bliss cup. Well, Alan, I have hundreds of bliss cups that we ordered for the homeless, so we can have homeless bliss cups for the homeless. But I'm taking some to Rainbow too for trade circle and trade blankets, because there's nothing like a good cup when you're out in the
There's
woods.
nothing
There's
like
nothing like it
a
that you can
last
cook
year
with too.
when the trading blankets and stuff like that. That's what I'm looking forward to. At least 2 weeks up there in the Four Corners region.
Right. Well, guys, we've
Oh,
been on
good,
almost
good,
30
good.
hours.
Yeah, so I'm also gearing
Yep.
up. Okay, good, good. Everybody loves that though. We love the long shows.
Right. And Noah,
The fellowship
I
is
was
so
gonna
important.
go. I'm gonna go around, let everybody have one last word, and I'm gonna ask you if you'll pray us out at the end.
All right.
Okay, go ahead, Ellie. Any last words?
Yeah, I just like to say, Noel, that's a fantastic story to hear that you've been touched like that. That's wonderful. Also, I just wanted Alan, if we could perhaps do some Bible teaching and help share what the full armor of God is. A lot of newbies don't seem to know what the full armor of God is, so perhaps we could look into that, please, to help some people so they are protected. And I just pray for a barrier of protection around everyone that's here watching. And Scotty, I'll continue to pray for you too, mate. You've been in my prayers. So, yeah, that's all I want to say.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Good, nice help. Webb?
Well, I will say in closing, thank you all for having me on very much. I'm so happy to hear from Noah here at the end of the show, and it just sounds like he's doing the most amazing work down there in New Orleans. And man, I really wish I could come there and be part of that revival. It just sounds super cool. And everybody else in your area, maybe you can take some inspiration from Noah and start trying to do the same type of thing in your area, you know? Other than that, I just want to say God bless all you guys and just have a great night. And I'll definitely talk to you guys again soon on, you know, if you invite me on, let me on another show.
Always invited. Heck yeah. All right, Alan, what do you got?
As we continue to set our intent, as Tommy likes to say when I ask him, you know, what are any last words? Keep a good intent and realize that the intent of your heart, and as a man thinketh in his heart, or a woman, so they are. And a lot of times your life can be so much better mentally and physically with a positive attitude. And if it's a placebo, let it be a placebo for the Lord. But this is not your home. We are your family. And it's going to be okay because we're going to be rescued and we have our hope in the right place. And amen, hallelujah, aho.
Yeah, amen. Amen. Well, and for me, just sitting there and I look at the ticker, 3 hours. I would not, can any of you imagine sitting in a church pew for 3 hours, you know, listening intently, answering, asking back, right? I mean, this is what it's about. You know, those church pews, they're lined up like that for a reason. You know, so one person can't see the other type of deal. You see the back of a head and one person speaking. This is great. I love this. The vibe is always so good. You know, Noah shows up here with us and oh man, just what a blessing, right? He has such a great experience down there going. The Lord's blessing him. Everybody, please put your prayers to him. Let's send him some money and Venmo. Let's do what we can to help the word of God to get out, because that's our responsibility. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
So Noah, would you pray us out, please, sir? Everybody knows what we like. Take your hats off, men, women. Cover your head if you have something. Go ahead, Noah.
All right. You can hear me, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this ministry that Tommy and Alan are putting together for us all the time, every day, working so hard for you. This fellowship is so important in this time where we as the salt of the earth are scattered so far and few between. But we're finding people in our lives, and Lord, you're bringing people into our lives. I hope you're bringing people into our brothers and sisters' lives who watch this in real time, in real life, so we can find each other and experience life to its fullest ability, Lord. And Lord, and Lord, just thank you, Lord, for blessing this ministry, for waking me up, for pouring wisdom out on us. And God, keep pouring wisdom out. Pour wisdom out now, Lord, on everyone watching, everyone that's involved with this channel, that loves this channel. We're a place where we can come together in this time, Lord. Pour us out wisdom, Lord, and navigate us and help us, Lord. Remove any obstacle in our way and any repetitive cycle that we're stuck in, Lord, and continue to help us focus our gifts and talents and use them for your glory, and erase any morsel of doubt that's there at all in our mind about anything, because doubt is from the enemy. All those thoughts, those principalities, those ideas, those are all the enemy, Lord, and banish them. I banish them in your name, Jesus Christ. Thank you, Lord.
Amen.
Amen. And just amen. I'm so honored to pray with you all. I'm so honored. Thank you so much. Amen.
We're glad you were here, brother. Well, for everybody out there, Thin Gap, like Alan said earlier, 5 more days on his till we get back to that channel. Send this link to other subscribers that don't know I'm here and we're doing this. Otherwise,
I'll post this in my community
Yeah.
section. Yep.
nice. God bless you all. Noah, we're going to take care of you, brother. Not
Thanks,
everybody.
Tommy.
God